Good evening, 49er faithful. Welcome to another episode of the live 49ers mailbag. Very excited to get into this one. There were a ton of questions that came in, as you might expect. 49er faithful are absolutely jazzed at this point in time, maybe a little bit frustrated as well. I'm pretty excited to get into it. I'm wearing my new, slightly overpriced, completely official NFL Combine sweatshirt here. Got the original logo on there. Picked that up for a steal at the Combine, in that they stole money from me to pay for this sweatshirt. As you know, the NFL does not give anything away when it comes to their merchandise. They are brutal in that regard. So we are going to get into this mailbag. As per usual, I want to lay down the ground rules of how the mailbag works. First and foremost, I just want to say that I'll be getting into the previously submitted questions. I got people that hit me up on Twitter after I put out the request for the questions. I'll be getting to those. I've got people that submitted questions through 49ersmailbag@gmail.com. I will be dealing with those, but I am going to be getting into your comments here in the chat as well. So if you hit me up in the comments, hit me with @Rob or @RobShoe so that I know you're talking to me. The comments were already kicking off as it was. One of our sneakerheads here on the channel, Charles Thurman, coming in. Rob, any news on Milk Dud Jimmy? I love the show. Peace out, like, and subscribe. No news on Jimmy today. Unfortunately, I'm not entirely convinced we will get news in the next 24 hours, but I do still have my fingers crossed that we will. Raphael 5629ers, another sneakerhead here on the channel. What's up, Rob? And everyone, good to see you, Raphael. Sean 9519ers, sneakerhead on the channel. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Yes, I agree, Sean. Today was snooze worthy. BK from the Bay coming in. @Rob, do the Niners have a real trade destination for Jimmy Garoppolo? That's the $1 million question right now. And I don't think that we can actually answer it until we get the results, until we see where or if Jimmy Garoppolo is traded. E. Kim here makes the other side of it, and E. Kim has been very consistent in making the other side of it. Rob, Jimmy never had any trade value to start with. No one wants an injury-prone and weak-arm, mistake-prone starting quarterback. It goes on to say, if the front office and Rob, the front office and Kyle should be fired if they keep Jimmy and have the same outcome of no Super Bowl victory. So I have to disagree on both counts. I know right now it doesn't look like I'm correct about that, but I still do believe there will be a trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. I still do believe it will be in the reasonable range of what I suggested before. And I know that's looking less and less likely, but I still believe in supply and demand. And there are more teams in need of a starting quarterback than starting quarterbacks out there. I did say my fear was the 49ers would overplay their hand. And I do think that that is a bit of what we're seeing to this point, that the Niners may have been a little bit cocky on this one, and it may end up costing them. It's unfortunate, but it's the reality. Allen coming in. Rob, what do you think of the signing of Charvarius Ward and the guy from the Packers? I like both of the signings so far. I think both quality additions. I am thrilled to see the 49ers finally investing in the third phase of the game, that special teams unit. That's huge. I will talk about what I like about Charvarius Ward in a little bit, because that was one of the previously submitted questions. Stivers 209 football coming in from the Stockton area. You know I went to UOP. Can we sign Honey Badger from Kansas City? I have that question in there as well, as to whether signing Charvarius Ward may give us a little bit of an edge. I will talk about that in just a little bit. Stivers 209 is starting to put out their own content. That's fantastic. I always support it. Sean 9519ers, @RobShoe. Until I see each team with a quarterback by tomorrow at 1 p.m., I will believe that Jimmy G is going somewhere. No choice but to be under the cap by then. Sean 951, while I agree with there should be optimism that Jimmy will end up somewhere and that there's every chance he gets moved at the last minute, we do have to acknowledge that the 49ers can get under the cap in other ways. It would be very hard to do. They would have to, I think, hit most of the extensions that are available to them as an option. I don't believe that would be their choice to do so, their first plan A. But I don't know. John Lynch is pretty stubborn. He is really stubborn. And if he gets stuck with freaking Jimmy, I just don't know how he's going to react. That Niner guy, sneakerhead on the channel at Rob Shu. Remember when I said the Niners might overplay their hand with Jimmy? Remember when I said the same thing? Yes, I'm telling you, we are on the same page with that. 1,000%. Eric Schultz just coming in to say hello. I love it. I love the energy in the chat. Steven, should we sign Earl Thomas? I don't think so. I think there's still some quality safeties available. I think that there are safeties in the draft. I tell you, we haven't seen the safety market completely settle. Some of those deals that have gone out, though, I thought it was going to be cool. I thought there were so many safeties out there that it was going to be a relatively chilly safety market, and they weren't going to get paid. Some of these safeties are getting big money. Alan says, at Rob, don't forget to smash that like button like Deebo Samuel. Hit it. Hit it. Kim Adams saying, Rob, trade Jimmy G for a porterhouse. At this point in time, it doesn't seem like a bad idea. Cage Taylor, they didn't release the Ward news until about 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so maybe we'll get another late night update today. Fingers crossed. I'm with you, Cage. Hey, the day ain't over till it's over. Kyle coming in. Rob, Kyle. Archie at Rob. Finally, some action. Let me tell you. That Niner guy, they overplayed their hand. I tend to agree. Even if they get this done, they did overplay their hand to some extent. Everybody coming in to say what's up. I love it. Absolutely love the energy. Look at that. 49ers fan since 1946 coming in to say, sup, Rob, you are my favorite. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate the dialogue in the chat. It is fantastic. Ace bruh. At Rob, love the cornerback we got. You think we get another defensive back in free agency? I'm skeptical about that. Maybe like a bottom tier, depending on availability. I do think that you keep your eye on Honey Badger. I think as this thing goes on, there will be some value picks available. And the 49ers, I believe, are one of those teams that some of these veteran guys are going to say, well, if I'm taking less money, I might as well get a shot at a team that can get me a ring. And the Niners are in that tier. So, yes, I think it's still possible that they do. Let's see. BK from the Bay at Rob. Is it true the Niners passed on TB12 again? I don't think it was ever an option. So, no, I say no. Archie coming in. Did the Niners overplay their hands? So stressful. Yes, I believe that they did. So, I'm going to take this point in time to bring in. And that Niner guy, you'll have to forgive me if I borrowed that from you. I don't think so. I think I've been saying that myself, that they've overplayed their hand. But it's entirely possible that was introduced to me through the chat, and I don't want to take credit away from anyone else. But I have certainly been saying it for a long time, that my fear is the Niners are overplaying their hand, and that when the music stopped, they wouldn't have a chair. They would be screwed in the musical chair game. Benjamin Albright today in talking about the Niners. I think it's a combination of things, Albright continued. I think they overplayed their hand. Anytime you're going to see the Washington Commanders take on Carson Wentz's salary and give up 2 draft picks to do it and not go after Jimmy Garoppolo, who's been to a Super Bowl, I think that means you overplayed your hand, because I feel that offensive coordinator Scott Turner and the offense over there in Washington would be just fine with Jimmy Garoppolo at the helm. Carson Wentz is a giant question mark. I think what they've done is they just overplayed their hand in the end. Everybody knew what was coming. They knew what was going to be available at the end of the year. So they went out and made their plans and their contingency plans, and it wound up, you get around the circle, and he's the only one without a chair left to sit in. I'm telling you, it is not good news for the Niners right now. I do think we have to prepare ourselves for the possibility. I'm not saying it's likely, I'm not saying it's what's going to happen, but the possibility that Jimmy Garoppolo is on this team beyond 1 p.m. on the 16th. They must be under the salary cap. That is a fact. They can get under the salary cap in a couple of different ways, even with the Ward deal, because that Ward deal is going to be really cheap on that first year. Chris Royal coming in at Rob Shu, another sneakerhead on the channel. At Rob Shu, I believe he will be on the team all the way up to the final few minutes. Someone will jump in and probably float a fourth. At that point, I think they may have to actually take it. Steven, should we get Miles Jack? Is Miles Jack available at the moment? I don't think so. I think our linebacker room looks fantastic at the moment. Jan coming in at Rob. Charvarius Ward is a bigger version of Mosley. I like him. The only question mark I have is one that cannot be settled at this point in time, and that is the value that the 49ers got for it. I realize it was a day one signing, so you're not looking for value, but you always need to measure the value of a contract. That's the game of getting underneath the salary cap. You got to get good value on contracts. So for me, it's in comparison to some of the guys that could have been a true lockdown corner for the Niners. So when the real numbers come out, I mean, what's he really going to earn on the year? What's going to count against the cap? I want to compare that to J.C. Jackson. That, to me, will be the real test. V Breezy, at Rob Shue, who would you like to get last minute in free agency? I would love Chandler Jones. I would love Honey Badger. And then I think I would love Jakeem Grant. Those would be my 3 wish list items. But I think the reality is we need to actually fill it in with more bargain basement deals. And so I think you're going to see a lot more action from the San Francisco 49ers as this progresses. And I know that is frustrating. Archie, at Rob, need some news with this traffic. Archie, I got nothing for you. We got no news. We got the Niners have added a cornerback. We got the Niners have added a special teams linebacker, a core special teamer, and traffic sucks. Maybe, no, you don't want a self-driving car. Driving's too much fun. Who wants a self-driving car? I mean, traffic sucks, but driving is fun. David Williams, hi, Rob. Think of our moves so far. Oh, what do I think of our moves so far? You think Jimmy G is going to be traded? Sorry, David, that was easy enough to interpret, and my brain just scrambled it. I like our moves so far. I'm not terribly... I got excited by Matt Mayoko's report that we were going after one of the top tier cornerbacks. I admittedly did not set my sights on Ward as one of those top tier cornerbacks. And so there was a mild level of disappointment until I dug in a little bit more and until I realized that the 49ers probably did get better value in going that route than in pursuing J.C. Jackson. Again, though, I think it is too early to really diagnose that. Bro Montana, sneakerhead on the channel, at Rob. Bro Montana in this MFer. Ha! Are we actually talking to Watson? If so, what do you think about that? I don't think we're talking to Watson. It's possible. It is possible. I don't believe it. I think that they put out that report very quickly, shutting it down. I would guess that it was Watson's camp that put that out because they want more and more suitors to be believed to be interested. And I would say that what would I think about it? Great talent. I don't think I want that drama in the building. I'm not accusing anyone of guilt. I'm not proclaiming anyone's innocence. I will say that the circumstances of that situation seem suspect to me, and I would rather not have that around the organization personally. I wish him all the best if he is, in fact, innocent. I also wish all the best for the alleged victims in this particular situation. It's a very tricky one. E. Kim pointing out Tyrod Taylor's been signed to the Giants. I saw that before coming on. I think we have to resign ourselves to the idea that we are going into the season with Nate Sudfeld as our backup quarterback. The Niners have reversed position on their belief that backup quarterback needs to be able to win a couple of games. Just go with Nate. Save some money. Spy Nick Danger, go Rob. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate the support. It means a lot. Bullpup 33, sneakerhead here on the channel. At Rob, at this point, the market is moving against them. Also, I know that his 40 is not good, but Kyren Williams is my projection for scat back. I'm not familiar with Kyren Williams. I just don't see him getting caught from behind. I will have to add that to the list. I got a lot of folks that I want to get in on in the draft. Got my combine information already, so I'm adding that to the list. Thank you, Bullpup 33. Mark coming in. At Rob, do you think you see our defense moving away from that cover 3 scheme and moving to more man with the addition of Ward? And E-Man Ambry came into the league being a man-to-man cornerback. it's interesting to wonder what this signing does mean. He does have a different play style. You could see the 49ers adjusting in that regard. I also like what Matt Barrows called out, which is you could see something similar to 2011 where E-Man slides down into the slot in the nickel on nickel packages because he can play there. Jeremy Spencer at Rob, it feels like something big's about to happen. I hope you're right. But until then, the Map Crow calls out patience is a virtue. All you need. Wait, I can't sing it. All you need is a little patience. If I had the music in the background, I think I could hit some of the notes, but I don't want to punish your ears without that. So we're just going to go with no song right now. No Patience by Guns N' Roses. I could try to whistle it, but again, I'd be off key. Fordman 49. Fordman, good to see you. At Rob, how's it going? Do you think the Watson thing is for real? I don't. I just don't at this point. Stivers says, Rob, can we trade Jimmy Garoppolo to a fast food restaurant, get a worker, our next quarterback? Steven Mandler at Rob Shoe. Sorry, haven't been on, going through some stuff, but I'm back. Steven, hey, man, I'm sorry to hear that. Legitimately, sort of a pause here. I know what that's like. I know what it's like to go through some stuff. I have gone through some personal stuff myself, and it's not fun. I hope that the Niners free agency can take you away from whatever it is you're dealing with. I hope that whatever you're dealing with does clear up, that you get some resolution, or at least a little bit of inner peace. And know that there are people out there that are willing to listen. If you ever want to talk, know that there are other people out there going through some stuff, and you're not alone. Not that you feel you are. I don't mean to imply that, but I just want to say welcome back. And I guess I said all that stuff, not just for you, Steven, but for anybody that needed to hear that, because I've certainly gone through some stuff. And when I hear that from other people, it means something to me. And so I always like to share that with others. And it's a genuine offer to anybody who's watching this program. If you're going through something that feels uncomfortable, you feel alone, you feel like you don't have anybody to talk to, reach out to me by email, 49ersmailbag@gmail.com. I have no problem reaching out and connecting with people, even getting on the phone and having a conversation. I care about my fellow human beings. Eric Sully at Rob, comp picks, baby. Hey, that was good news. It looked like we were getting 3 compensatory 7th rounders. 2 of those turned into 6 rounders. You know the Niners can do some good with 6-round picks. Jamie Bryant at Rob Shoe. With us getting the 5 compensatory picks, I don't see us making a big splash in free agency. We are going heavy in the draft. I tend to agree. We do need to get cheap, and I still think there are some free agent things out there ready to happen. All right, I need to get into some of these previously submitted questions. I have just been enjoying what you've been putting in the chat for far too long. Let me jump into the previously submitted questions. I will be back into the chat. So again, if you're typing in a question for me, type in @Rob or @RobShoe. I will get to it in just a minute. All right, first one. Wait a minute, I skipped the first one. Here we go. Edgardo coming in. I thought it was Eduardo, but I don't see the U in there, and it was in there twice, so I think it is Edgardo, but please correct me if I'm wrong if you're here in the chat. When does Jimmy's no-trade clause expire? I always shorten these up a little bit. Ooh, I skipped one around, but anyways, I'm going in this order. As soon as the new league year starts, that trade clause expires. So really, he doesn't have one, right? Because that's when they need to trade him, is in the new league year. And that's when it expires. He doesn't have one for this. But many teams would really want to renegotiate the deal with Jimmy Garoppolo. So if he refused, if he's not cooperative in negotiating that deal, it could cause issues in the trade. In that case, it would basically, if he's unwilling to negotiate with a new team to get a new deal done, he basically becomes a 1-year rental, right? He's only got 1 year left on his deal. It's at a ridiculous $27 million cap figure, a ridiculous $27 million figure. That's not the cap figure for the new team, but it would be a 1-year rental, and that would really hurt his trade value. I mean, it would be next to nothing if he were unwilling to renegotiate with the new team. I am still holding out the belief that he gets traded. I think to this point, it is basically all smoke and mirrors. I do think the Niners overplayed their hand, but I think at some point, someone other than the 49ers blinks and we get to trade him. All right. Ian coming in with this one. I shortened some of these, so I'm going to read the full questions. It may not look the same on the screen, but trust me, it's the same gist. Hi, Rob. Are the Niners risking locker room unrest if they wait till training camp to trade Jimmy? From Ian. Ian, yes, absolutely. They are risking considerable locker room unrest. It's evidenced by how quickly and thoroughly the Niners denied the Watson rumors today. You don't come out and make that definitive statement unless you're worried that you're going to disrupt the locker room chemistry and make Trey Lance feel unsettled in his new role as a presumptive starter. I think they want to support Trey. It is all about supporting Trey at this point. Keeping Jimmy, in my opinion, would be a disaster because the rumors, the speculation would be freaking endless. Endless. I would be guilty of it as well. We would have to talk about it. Let the kid concentrate on being the starter. That's why you went with Nate Sudfeld as the freaking backup so that he wouldn't be distracted and avoid the drama, Niners. That is my sense of it. All right, one more before I get back into your questions in the chat. Why is Jimmy G still on the team? F on. Hey, I sense your frustration. In answer to your question, he's still on the team because he hasn't been traded. But seriously, I didn't mean to be snarky there. I'm just kidding. That is my attempt at whatever humor I have right now because it is pretty crazy. But again, going back to my fear of the 49ers overplaying their hand and that when the music stopped, they might be the team without a chair. Jimmy might be the quarterback without a chair. That's where I think we are. The 49ers tried to play teams off of one another and to maximize the trade value for Jimmy Garoppolo. And they treated Jimmy in a way where, as Joe Staley said, from a business perspective, Jimmy probably didn't feel all that great at how the 49ers did him this year in drafting his replacement and demanding or asking that he stay around and be the good soldier on the team, not trading him and allowing Trey to start from the outset, right? Trying to win and win in the future, trying to ride two boats. And they did it. They successfully did it, but it had a toll on Jimmy Garoppolo. And I think his decision on that surgery, as Joe Staley indicated, may have been Jimmy with a little bit of the, that's how I interpret it. That is how I interpret it. If you don't understand that reference, you may have to go watch Friends. I realize that was like 25 years ago now. It's crazy to think about that. All right, let's get back into your questions. I'm trying to catch up a little bit. So again, if I freaking miss anything, then you let me know. You bring it back in. That Niner guy clarifying Rob Shoe. No, we agreed on it. You stole nothing. I like that. I like that you're allowing me credit on that. That's kind of you, that Niner guy. Jan coming in at Rob. Got to know when to hold him. Got to know when to fold him. Got to know when to walk away. Got to know when to run. You never count your money while you're sitting at the table. Something until the dealing's done. Damn it, Jan. I was close. But hey, I'm with you on that one. You gotta know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. You never count your money. When you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. See, when you sing it, the words come back to you. I don't care if that was terrible. I enjoyed it. Stivers, 209 Football. Rob, do you think the Niners trade Jimmy Garoppolo to get Derek Carr? I do not. On that one. At Rob Shoe from Sean 951. Wentz is understandable, but Wentz didn't just have shoulder surgery and Rivera's job is on the line. That is a fair point. That Niner guy at Rob Shoe, it's your show. Do what you want. I just did. I sang and people are probably bailing quickly as they heard that. But when you get a chance to throw, you got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them out there. You don't pass on that chance, ladies and gentlemen. If you like the singing, hit the like button for me. Bump that signal back up, baby. Daniel coming in at Rob Shoe, watching from Ireland. Hey, that is where my folks are from. I hail from. That's why I've got the orange in the beard. Daniel, welcome in. Watching from Ireland, who are your draft crushes? What position should we target in the rest of free agency? Free agency, I think you've got to look at value. I would love to get a speedy wide receiver and a return man. I do think that you can get that in one of the return guys. I meant Jakeem Grant. I think you could fill both on that one. So I love that. I would love Chandler Jones. I would love Honey Badger. I think those are stretches. I think we'll be looking more for value in free agency. And then I have a couple of draft crushes. Most of them, unfortunately, are going to be gone by the time we pick. I like Boye Mafe. I like Nick Bonito. I like Jalen Petrie. I think Christian Watson. Those are my 4 early draft crushes that if we had gotten a second rounder for Jimmy, which seems unlikely at this point, I would have wanted to go after. I think by pick 61, they're all gone. I do love Marcus Jones, absolutely in love with Marcus Jones, but I think he climbs up from where we could get him at 103 after he runs in his pro day. We shall see. A lot of names out there, I'm telling you. People want to trade Jimmy for basically everything under the sun. People just want him gone. Okay, here we go. Kyle says, I need to read this. So I'm taking direction, Kyle. Rob, I need you to read this. If this Houston Watson stuff has legitimacy, I don't actually believe it does, but let's go hypothetical. If this Houston Watson stuff has legitimacy, Trey Lance is set up to succeed Pep Hamilton as his quarterback coach and offensive coordinator. It's fantastic for him. Strictly a conspiracy theory. It is just a conspiracy theory. I don't currently believe it. I don't completely discount it. It was thrown out there by a source. It was then quickly denied by a lot of people. But that doesn't mean that there wasn't some validity to it. It doesn't mean that, someone didn't reach out. All right, I got to catch up a little bit, but I'm going to try to get to these comments. At Rob, I wonder if Ward has was the DB that D'Amico wanted. The best players aren't always the best scheme fit. Very well said. And I would much rather that D'Amico get who he wants than for them to take who I think they should have selected. Don't listen to me, 49ers. Go after your guys. All right, here we go. This one says, I3 says we need to go after Miles Jack. So apparently, is Miles Jack a free agent? I didn't realize that. Miles Jack, Chandler Jones, and Honey Badger. I agree with Chandler Jones and Honey Badger. I actually like our linebacker room. All right, Ronnie Niner. If the shoe fits, wear it. Amen to that. Amen to that. All right, Rick says, at Rob Shoe, rumors are that Jimmy and agent were playing us by the timing of the surgery. Doesn't it hurt Jimmy and the organization if he's released? I think so. Like, the only benefit for Jimmy is if he's traded for fewer assets. That makes sense because then the team he's going to has greater draft assets to add to the team and he can win. But if he's released, he now has to negotiate a new contract. I don't think he's going to get $25 million. I could be wrong about that, but I would agree. I don't think he wants to be released. Sneaker season 415 at Rob. Thoughts on signing Bobby Wagner? If the price is right, I'm good with adding any talent. William Bennett coming in at Rob Shoe. Hey, Rob, my guy. Cheers, William. All right, let's continue. Niner Sickness podcast in the house. Hello, faithful. How you doing, Rob? I am pretty good, Niner Sickness. I appreciate you checking in on me. Absolutely. At Rob Shoe from Sean 9519ers, Houston GM drafted Jimmy G. Maybe Jimmy G and Lance to Houston. Boom. Dreaming. But still, I know Kyle is turning in his office knowing Watson wants to be a 49er. I don't know. I think he may want away from the drama because they cooled off as soon as that came out, but maybe not. James coming in with the question, are we still getting DJ Jones barbecue sauce? I'll miss it. I will. As long as I have this until I give it away, it is coming back in. It is always coming back in. William Bennett. Everyone watching this content, like and subscribe. Doing the good deed, William Bennett. I appreciate that. If you enjoy the content, I do welcome you to like it. If you love the content, subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. Turn on your YouTube notifications. I am telling you. All right, I will get back into the comments in just a moment. Wait, we got Kevin from Scotland. Glasgow. At Rob Shoe, evening, and same to all the other sneakerheads. No whiskey for me tonight. That's a shame. At the Ford, restructure was smart and needed move. I think you're talking about D Ford here, the restructure on D Ford, but still think that it'll be a last minute move with Jimmy G tomorrow. I agree. We saved about $5 or $6 million in that restructure of D Ford. I've got a question about D Ford in a little bit. I will get into it. Kevin, good to see you. All right, let's go back to some of these previously submitted questions. Again, there were a lot of people that had that energy of Jimmy G, but that's not what we're doing. Ev Days came in and as a man of the people said, hey, maybe the people want to know a little bit more about Rob Shoe. I hope Ev is right about this because he is getting an answer to his questions, and I hope you guys value it in some way. Rob, these are 3 lightning round shoe-specific questions for we sneakerheads to learn more about you. Number 1, he says, your favorite all-time 49er game. Number 2, best stadium to watch a game. Number 3, favorite all-time non-quarterback 49er. Thank you, sir. You are very welcome, Ev. You know you're my boy. You and I are good, and anytime you ask a question, it's getting in the mailbag, my friend. My favorite game, I think I have recency bias because my short-term memory, my memory in general is just not great. Like I don't not remember things. I remember stuff, but some of these things become hazier. So like high school, going to all those games in the 90s, in general, I remember them. And I have specific memories of specific games, but none that really stands out in the way this one does. And that is the frickin' 2011 Saints playoff game. Goodness gracious. I was living in Southern California at the time, so I flew up, went to the game with my dad and my brother. We were down like similar corner to where our old seats at Candlestick were, but much closer to the field. I think we were like 16 rows back, corner end zone in the northwest corner of Candlestick, northern corner, I think northwest. And it was just crazy. I'm a storyline guy. So the redemption for Alex Smith in that game was amazing. Vernon Davis's emotional catch at the end was amazing. The up and down nature of it, of we are going to win with Alex Smith's end around and then heart ripped out of your chest and you think we're going to lose. And then an amazing finish where you're like, we freaking won? Like, no way. That to me was amazing. I love that. Best stadium to watch a game? Candlestick Park, hands down. My favorite stadium because there are so many positive memories. If I'm looking at just most impressive, I'm struck by both Minnesota and Green Bay. Lambeau for me, maybe it was because of the snow, maybe it was because we won. I was impressed with Lambeau. I felt the big nature of that stadium. I felt the history. It was palpable. You could almost taste it. And the last one, favorite all-time non-QB 49er, easy Ev, Jerry Rice. Jerry. He was my favorite. Pretty sure the answer is the same, even if you throw in all quarterbacks. I was and am a huge fan of the GOAT, Jerry Rice. Hell, my first car was a 1969 Pontiac GTO. Gearheads will understand that reference. Thank you for the question, Ev. All right, next one in. Rob, do you believe Charvarius Ward is better than Mosley? I read he's great at press coverage. Just coming in from Johnny E. I do think he is a better prospect. I think he slots in as our number 1 cornerback. I defer to experts. And last night I watched Eric Crocker's live where he gave his thoughts and opinions. I thought they were very reasonable and they matched my own research. That to me is always the definitive proof of a solution. And so he's a better corner than E-Man, in my opinion. The only question for me, again, is value on this one, in that they may have been able to get a true shutdown corner like J.C. Jackson for just a little bit more. But that's not going to be clear until these contracts come out in their entirety. And I suspect, given Parag Marate's track record, that he'll actually be far cheaper than J.C. Jackson when you see the full terms of the sheet. I'm not wowed by the move. Like, it didn't drop my jaw, but I really like it. I think it's really solid. Definitely needed a number 1 corner, and we checked that box. To me, that's a freaking win. All right, next question came in from Rick. Again, this was a longer one. I think I shortened it, so I'll read out the entirety of it. What makes Jimmy an albatross? Is it his high-paying contract or that he holds control over the locker room? Would he still be an albatross if he agrees to restructure his contract due to the dwindling demand for a quarterback? Coming in from Rick. In answer to that, yes and yes. Yes, the contract is the biggest albatross at this point in time. But even if he renegotiated it, being in the locker room would create a natural divide. It would be a cancer in my mind. Plus, we'd be talking about it all year. It would be a distraction. And they've got Nate Sudfeld, who they have guaranteed $2 million to. That's not practice squad money. That is backup quarterback money. So Nate Sudfeld, I think, is going to be the backup going into this season. All right, I want to get back into your comments in the chat right now. I got to catch up a little bit because I'm a few minutes behind. Forgive me for that. Rafa, do you see us putting together some kind of trade package to get ourselves back in the first round with all those comp picks? I don't. I think the Niners need bodies, and so I think that they may trade around a little bit, but I do not believe that they will trade back into the first. JG1 asking if they can use comp picks in a trade up. Yes, the NFL did change those freaking rules. You can trade compensatory picks, no doubt. Zach coming in with the super chat. Sorry that this lingered so long. I apologize for that. What's stopping us from getting a guy like Peppers? Who we talking about? Peppers. Refresh my memory on. Oh, we are probably talking about Peppers, the safety. Is it Jabril Peppers? I mean, at this point in time, I think the 49ers are just looking for value. Regardless of what free agent we are talking about, you're looking at the 49ers being hesitant to spend big money. And so I do think that there are some names out there that are very exciting that the Niners could be involved with. And I think the question becomes, is the price right on those acquisitions? Here we go. Ramon, one of our sneakerheads at Rob. Texans have approved trade packages from Saints, Panthers, and Browns. This is not confirmed. This is reported by Ramon. Hopefully with this news, the Jimmy resolution will come sooner rather than later. I'm telling you, it would be huge to get news on frickin' Jimmy. Everett Kramer coming in at Rob Shue. You are a legend, sir. You are. No, you are. You are. Forget about it. Ooh, I am at Rob. Predict our next move. Can I go out of the box? Can I just say that I think we pull the trigger on an edge, and I think it's sort of splashy, and it could be Chandler Jones? I'm throwing it out there. I am throwing it out there. JG1 says, I need a cowboy hat, Rob. I do have one. Go back and watch that Dallas Cowboys post game. I'm telling you. Sean 951. Hey, I got some support. I like it. I appreciate that, Sean. Silent Seth, Rob Shue karaoke night. Yes, it was. I'm telling you. Scapegoat. Rob, you lost 10 viewers when you started singing. I'm kidding. I don't know. Maybe I did. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. Ellis 10. After you sang, I hit the like button. I'm telling you. Russell James. Oh, just got here. I missed the singing. I'll like anyway. Man, I will sing if we trade Jimmy Garoppolo. I will use that as a reason to sing. All right, Kyle coming in with the super chat. Do we fill the holes in the O-line in free agency or draft? You know what's tough is I don't think there are very many holes in the 8 or 9 spots that the Niners usually keep for offensive linemen. I think you're probably looking at 1 or 2 additions. I certainly think one of those comes from the draft. I don't know of any candidates out there that excite me in free agency. I think it's the draft. That would be my official answer. The draft. It will be the draft. Jacob Mayhew is the newest sneakerhead on the channel. Welcome, Jacob. Jacob said had to become a sneakerhead. Love it. Young Montana is not a competition. Rob singing better than Grant singing. I don't know. That man, every now and then he can belt one out. I tell you. All right, I'm getting back. I'm scrolling back up so that I don't miss too many of these freaking questions. If I missed it, if your question came before 5:27, feel free to copy and paste it back in. Just once, please. Melvin Crediford at Rob, could you please assure people that odds are that Lance is going to be great? All this talk about getting rid of Lance for anyone who can throw a spiral, it's getting absurd. Play the kid. Melvin, I'm with you here. Let us be patient and let us allow Lance the chance to freaking prove that he deserved that draft position. I still have optimism. I still have hope. I still believe Lance is going to start this year. I don't believe the rest of the noise. No Borders Sports coming in at Rob Shue. Jimmy's fair trade value is a kick in the balls and a spat in the face. Ouch. Ouch. I don't believe that, but everyone is entitled to their opinion. I think I will be justified in my belief of the trade value. I will be willing to admit I'm wrong. No Borders Sports. I hope you also will be willing to admit you're wrong. Ricardo at Rob Shue. Chances that the Watson rumors for a team to bite on Jimmy. I don't think the Niners put it out with how quickly they had to deny that and how vehemently they denied it. I don't believe that they had any hand in putting that out there. Michael, this is reasonable. At Rob, could the Niners have asked about Watson just to gauge his market value? Yes. That might be the type of thing that spawned all this rumors. Just reaching out to Watson's camp and being like, hey, who are the teams that are interested in your quarterback? Because we have Jimmy Garoppolo and we want to frickin' trade him and we need this domino to fall. So can you just tell us what's going on? That might have been what spawned all of this. Luke Walsh, happy day 2 of legal tampering. Happy day 2 of legal tampering to you as well, Luke. Drippy Dad, showing big love, Rob. I enjoy your show. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Luke Walsh, at Rob Shue. I just got in. I hope I didn't miss my Twitter question and answer. Luke, no, you are in perfect time. Look at that. It is literally the next one up, Luke. Here we go. That's the reason I'm going to Luke's question right here. I'm hoping. All right, this one, I had to cut out a little, so I'm reading the entirety here, Lukey. Teams play up to 21 games a season. Shanahan isn't shy about calling QB run plays. There's a good chance the backup quarterback will start some games. I'm hoping for a trade, but is there a scenario where you would keep Garoppolo for 2022 if Lynch is offered only a late day 3 pick? Lukey W. coming in. I don't believe the benefit would be worth the cost in this particular scenario. The benefit of a couple of wins, maybe in the event of an injury. The cost would be cancer in the locker room, endless calls from fans to switch quarterbacks anytime there was any adversity, endless speculation from the media about who's starting and who deserves to start. I think that you've got to admit the failure at that point and cut Jimmy Garoppolo before camp starts if you can't trade him by then. But I will say this. I think it's possible the Niners are stubborn enough to keep Jimmy beyond the start of the league year. I think there's a chance that he is here beyond the 16th because they can get under the cap other ways, but it would only be as a power negotiating tactic. There's no way in my book that both quarterbacks are on the roster to start the year. Luke, you got your question. You got your answer. Well timed. All right, one more, and then I'm coming back to the chat. All right, with a lot of teams building super teams, Broncos, Chargers, Rams, etc., where do you think the 49ers stand with actually being contenders? Edgardo coming back in. I love the Niners team building process. We hit on many of our own draft picks, Fred Warner, George Kittle, Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, Jimmy Ward. We got creative in trades, Trent Williams coming into the building for next to nothing. We hit on some key free agent additions. We are building a top-end heavy roster and then having to fill out the rest with inexpensive free agents and the draft. But that core, that elite core of talent should keep us in contention year after year, in my book. The key to getting to a Super Bowl is Trey Lance. You got to have the quarterback. You got to take advantage of him on his rookie deal. All right, getting back into your comments live. Let's do this. Let us find where we are. William Bennett coming in at Rob Shue. Again, type in at Rob or at Rob Shue if you've got a question for me. So this one coming in from William Bennett. Really, Rob, at Rob Shoot. Really, Rob is the only one read every chat that's sent to him, even if people didn't donate. So at least like this video. That is kind of you, William. I do like going through the chats. I don't care if you donate or not. I love when people support the channel. Don't get me wrong. I'm trying to make a real go of this thing. But yes, I am here for it. I am here for the dialogue. I am here for the interaction. And the money is a cool thing. Everett. At Rob Shoe, great answers. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you, Everett. Appreciate your positivity. Charles coming in with his thoughts on favorite players. Jerry Rice, Ronnie Lott. Love it. Meeting Ronnie Lott was freaking fantastic. First time I shook his hand and saw that missing pinky, forget about it. That memory is burned into my brain. Syard with the super chat. Sorry it lingered. My apologies, Syard. All right. Who the heck is Oren Burks? Am I just ignorant? No, he's a core special teamer coming from the Packers. He was like 15th in the league in special teams tackles. He's a great special teamer. It is going to be primarily backup depth at linebacker, filling out the linebacker room, and a core special teamer for the Niners. So this is finally an investment in the third phase of the game. Isaiah coming in just to show some love. Thank you, Isaiah. Appreciate that. The Rocky Mountain Razorback coming in at Rob Shoe. Are we pretty much down to Carolina and Indianapolis at this point? Possibly. I mean, anywhere that doesn't have a firm answer at quarterback, there's a chance. So you're telling me there's a chance. Houston could come into the running at some point. Certainly, you could have a surprise. But yeah, I think we basically are down to just a couple of teams. And that's why the whole musical chairs thing fits, because they waited a little too long, got a little too cute in trying to maximize what they get. That Niner guy at Rob Shoe. Niner fans, I would bet if Tart doesn't come back, I would bet they signed Deshaun Elliott. He will be on the cheap, and he's a stud when on the field. Ravens secondary fell apart without him last year. I think that Jaquiski Tart is gone, and so keep an eye on Deshaun Elliott, that Niner guy coming through with the good information on the regular. Melvin, dude, you are such a good guy. We fans are lucky to have you. Melvin, thank you for that. You are a good dude. Every one of you that keeps it positive in the chat, that's here with me in the dialogue, man, I'm surrounded by good freaking people, and I'm appreciative of that. All right, I got a couple of super chats that I have to get to. I will scroll back up to get to those other comments, but you do get priority if you pay, and I see it because sometimes I don't, and I apologize for that. R&R Adventure coming in. Keep up the amazing work. R&R just coming in to do the good deed, just to be kind. Man. Chris Royal, sneakerhead, coming in with the super chat. Wash your mouth out. About to give me an aneurysm, but I think you're 100% correct. They are stubborn enough to keep him past the deadline. I'm telling you, Chris, it gives me no pleasure to say that, Chris. It gives me no pleasure. It gives me heartburn to think about it. I love Jimmy. You know, I'm appreciative of what he brought to this organization, picking us up out of the situation we were in 2017. I appreciate him being the quarterback of our team that went to the Super Bowl, being the quarterback of our team that advanced to the NFC Championship after starting 3-5. I appreciate the fact that he held this locker room together throughout a chaotic year in 2021. And it is time to go. It is toxic at this point. It is bad for my health. And I just think we have to move on. So yes, I am with you. We just got to move on. All right, I'm taking this one because it's right next to it, but I'm going back in time to get some of your other comments. Shane Alston coming in at Rob Shoe. Isn't still having Jimmy on our team hindering us from being more active in free agency? No, it is not. It will once we hit the actual league year starting. At 1 p.m. tomorrow, every team must be under the salary cap and then cannot go over the salary cap beyond that. However, until 1 p.m. tomorrow, the teams don't have to worry about the salary cap at all, except to be under it by tomorrow at 1 p.m. So the Niners can restructure a couple of deals and get far enough under the cap to sign Ward, to sign Oren, to sign everyone that they've been linked to so far, and probably a couple of more. But to really free up room to sign the rookie class, they do have to get rid of Jimmy's salary at some point, but it doesn't have to be tomorrow. Doesn't have to be. Golden Fang also pointing out the Browns could be in the mix for Jimmy as well. That's a fair one to put out. Appreciate it. Fazil coming in. Rob, keep up the great work. You're amazing. Thank you, Fazil. Thank you for that. Man, people are kind. Oh, and we just got a new sneakerhead. Kevin. Kevin is the newest member of the channel. Love to see it. All right, let us get back to a couple of questions here. Gabriel Lopez Jr. with the formality. Mr. Rob Shoe. Delve us, if you will, into that palpable sense of historical significance as you trotted in and amongst, dare I say, Lambeau Field. I personally need to feel your intricate experience. Gabriel, it was phenomenal. Absolutely stunning. The exterior of the building with all of that exposed brick, it struck you as you approached it. Around the stadium, it is surrounded by auxiliary buildings that complement Lambeau Field, but don't take away from its magnificence. That was one of my issues with SoFi Stadium, is the surrounding area takes away from anything that the outside appearance, and it's a sort of weird exterior on SoFi anyway, but Lambeau is not. Lambeau is classic. And it's in like a neighborhood, and it doesn't have any big buildings around it that shrink the size of it. And so the magnitude of the building strikes you right away. And then you notice that they've redone some of the exterior and added some new glass and other things that have modernized the section and created an indoor space that day I was very grateful for because it was very cold, even though I was layered up to all high hell. But being in there in the warmth was nice. And then every Packer fan came up to me and wished me good luck, welcomed me to the stadium. It was the most welcoming experience, the most gracious fans that I have ever been a part of. And then you come into the field, and it just is Lambeau. You can get the sense. You can see the aluminum benches. Everyone that I was sitting next to, I was at a great seat, scored a 50-yard line seat, just one, so it was pretty cheap. But I was next to people whose families had owned the seats since the stadium opened. Like I was sitting next to the great-great-granddaughter of the person who bought the original seats. Started to fall at halftime, and it was coming down, and you just looked up. You were in Lambeau. You could see the screens off to the side, the snow gently falling, and then the Niners win it. Come on. You know I'm a storyline guy. That was a hell of a storyline. A hell of a game. So I am biased by the fact that the Niners won that one, and it was an emotional game for me. But yes, I was impressed by that stadium. No doubt about it. All right. Edgardo coming in. Like and subscribe. Rob is a top-tier content creator. I appreciate that. We got Edgardo's questions in here earlier. Edgardo, I hope you were here to see him. Jimmy J, not Jimmy G. This is Jimmy J, is the newest member of the sneakerhead community. Welcome, Jimmy J. Maybe that's a sign. We only have room for one Jimmy initial, and Jimmy J is in the house. Steven coming in at Rob Shoe. What are your thoughts on bringing Cordarrelle Patterson in since he does everything Debo does? I think he would be deadly. I like that at the right price. I think you could bring him in, take away some of the carries from Debo Samuel, take away some of that weight off of Debo Samuel. I do think that would be a good move. It would be a backup, an insurance policy, if you will. All right, I'm going to get into a couple of the previously submitted questions. I will be back in to answer yours. Again, hit the @Rob or @RobShoe if you're typing in a question in the chat, and hit that like button if you're still here. If you're still here, if you're paying attention and you haven't hit that like button yet, what you waiting for? Now's the time. All right. I'm not trying to pressure you into hitting the like button. Only hit the like button if you actually like it. That is what you should do. All right. Keneal coming in. Keneal. Now that the 49ers have signed a cornerback in Ward, what should the 49ers target with their day 2 picks? So we're talking about the draft here. I got some of my combine people coming up. I got a few guys that I mentioned earlier, but I got to say them again. I think they're going to be gone, but if they're available, I would absolutely snatch them. I would even move up a few slots to take any one of these 4 players. Boye Mafe, edge. Nick Bonito, edge. Christian Watson, wide receiver from North Dakota State. Jalen Petrie, safety. If any of those dudes fell or were even within reach, again, I would go after them. And that's based on the free agency moves I've seen so far. But there are also some interior linemen that I would definitely be comfortable with in that range. You know I love Cole Strange. That might be a little high to take Cole Strange. You might be able to trade back, recoup a pick, and select Cole Strange. But to me, if we do not address interior O-line, that need could climb up in the draft. I thought we'd select that more like third, fourth round. My hope was we could get Cole Strange at the end of the third. After his combine performance, I'm not entirely sure of that. All right, Grayson came in to say, do you think Charvarius Ward could help us get Tyrann Mathieu since they both played for the Chiefs? Grayson, yes, absolutely. I believe it could assist. I'm just not entirely sure that the Niners can afford Tyrann Mathieu. The Jimmy trade will start to limit the Niners if they plan to keep him on the roster beyond the league year starting. They will have to balance their books if he's going to be on the roster. They can get below the cap with who they've signed to this point, but I don't know that you could see that many more additions without clearing Jimmy Garoppolo. So that's a big domino to fall. The longer this thing drags out, though, for any of the free agents that are available, the better the value typically becomes on those individuals. And so if Tyrann Mathieu sits out there for longer and longer and longer, he's going to be a bargain bin type of guy. And he may say to himself, I want to go to a team that has a chance of winning. There is still some excellent talent out there, and there will be in the bargain basement hunting as well. I think that the Niners are going to move heavy in the next few days. All right, next one coming in. Now that we signed Charvarius Ward, who knows with what money? Again, I'm adding in what was in the original question here. Do you think the 49ers will give every opportunity for Ambry Thomas to beat out E-Man to start opposite Ward? Is this the ideal scenario where Ambry Thomas beats out E-Man to start opposite Ward? And would Jason Verrett come back on the cheap? Thanks again for the content, Thomas L. I do think that the Niners almost always preach competition. So yes, I think that their ideal situation is Ambry Thomas is fighting for that second cornerback spot. I would give the nod to E-Man. I think E-Man is head and shoulders above Ambry Thomas at this point, but Ambry Thomas could take a huge next step. They would love that if he could push E-Man for that starting spot. I do like Matt Barrow's prediction that he put out on Twitter today that we could see a similar strategy to what we saw in 2011 with Carlos Rogers and Chris Culliver, when Carlos Rogers used to slide inside to the nickel spot on nickel passing downs. Matt suggested that E-Man could slide in to play the nickel on those nickel passing downs, and that Ambry Thomas then comes into the game as the outside corner, and that would complete. Like, we wouldn't actually have to add a nickel at that point. I think it is, an interesting idea at a bare minimum. Next one coming in from Rich. Is D Ford the 49ers Bobby Bonilla? I think to some degree, yes. But I wanted to take this question not just to humorously laugh about the fact that the 49ers will be paying D Ford until eternity, but I also want to point out that in all seriousness, acknowledging D Ford for being flexible enough to make these concessions to the 49ers. I'm not saying that he lost anything in these deals. He probably gained cash in his pocket right away, but he didn't have to renegotiate. He did not have to come to the table, and he's done it multiple times for the team, and it has given them the flexibility that they need. I realize most fans are irritated with D Ford. I think we should be moderately grateful for the fact that he was willing to renegotiate the contract multiple times. All right, I'm getting back into your comments here in the chat. If you had your comment missed, please feel free to copy and paste it back in. Kevin pointing out he didn't upgrade to the elite level. Kevin, an elite sneakerhead. I freaking love it. Love it. Cap D coming at Rob. Do you make sneaker videos? I don't see any on your page. I don't. The sneakerhead reference is in a wordplay to my last name, which is Rob Shoe, spelled differently, but it actually is just the German spelling for shoe, S-H-O-E. And so sneakerheads is a play on that. I should, though. I mean, I like sneakers. I used to have a Niners sneaker right around here, but then I wore it to the NFC Championship game, and so it's no longer here. Abel coming in at Rob. Do you think that trading all 5 compensatory picks and Jimmy G could get the job done for Deshaun Watson? If not, why? I don't think the Niners are in on Deshaun Watson. And no, all those compensatory picks are weak picks. You would need multiple first rounders. I think Deshaun Watson goes for 2 or 3 first round picks. Jimmy's not worth a first rounder. At best, you could probably say worth a second. So you would need to throw in some considerable draft capital, and those compensatory ones would not work. How about them Niners? At Rob, if Tart walks, is Honey Badger too expensive? I believe Tart absolutely will walk. And yes, I think as of right now, Honey Badger is too expensive. Gabriel, thank you, Rob. Just watching from a TV point of view. It's awesome. It must be something else to actually be there. I'm telling you, it is. Davis, Cole, at Rob Shoe. Great stuff as always, bro. Could they trade Jimmy at 1 p.m. deadline for the freedom to trade him anywhere? Trade multiple picks to move up in the draft or free cap space for a combo of Jones and Wagner. Yes, they can trade Jimmy up until the 1 p.m. deadline. They can keep Jimmy beyond the 1 p.m. deadline. I know Niner fans don't want to hear it. I don't want to say it, but yes, they could keep him beyond. They just need to renegotiate a couple of other contracts that exist, but there is the freedom to do that at this point in time. It wouldn't be good for our sanity. Shane Alston coming in at Rob is the best in the biz. We got to help him to keep taking off. I have been in chats with different hosts for years and have never gotten a response. Rob has answered one of my questions on every video so far. Shane, I dig the interaction. I do. And to me, that's what it's all about. That's the beauty of the YouTube platform. That's the beauty of the live stream, is getting the freaking energy going, getting it popping off, keeping people positive, keeping people engaged, keeping people involved in the freaking conversation. I appreciate you, Shane. Ooh, Jimmy J, one of our latest sneakerheads. I think the latest sneakerhead. Matthew wants $15 million per. No chance. Yeah, if he prices himself out of any contention and then 4 days pass by and he's still sitting out there, a couple weeks pass by, he's still sitting out there, that's when it gets interesting, because at some point he says to himself, all right, I'm not going to get what I wanted. Who do I want to play for? I'm not going to get what I wanted. I'm probably not going to take a multiple year deal. I'm probably going to take something short that gives me an option to back out of it so that I can test the market again next year. And then the question becomes, does he view the Niners as his best opportunity to excel? Joshua saying, Chipotle Trey is better than Subway Jimmy. I have to agree. I'm much more excited about Trey than Jimmy. And I would prefer Chipotle to Subway any day of the week and twice on Sunday. Paul Perryman, at Rob Shoe. I'm under the impression that handshake deals like Ward can be signed after the start of the league year. So trade Jimmy at 101 and sign handshake deals at 1:02 p.m. No, I do believe that can be the case. I cannot speak with certainty on that. I do know that at 1 p.m., whatever deals are on the books must add up to being below the cap. It is a hard cap. So anyone that is signed at 1 p.m. must be underneath the cap. The Niners must be underneath the cap. But to your point, I do believe those deals then begin to be signed after 1 p.m. And so until they have signed, it doesn't go on the books. I believe, Paul, that you are correct here. V Breezy at Rob. What team do you think Jimmy wants to actually go to? I don't know if his trade value clause is still valid at the moment. It's not, because it is from it ends at 1 p.m. So the time that we need to trade him is the time that it ends. But again, he does need to negotiate in good faith with most of these teams. I still see Indianapolis as potentially one of the best landing spots, but all of these spots are closing up. And at some point, man, oh man, it gets tight. Sean 9519ers at Rob Shoe. Have a good rest of this show. Gotta head out. All love to the faithful. Appreciate you, Sean 951. Have a safe journey wherever you are headed. Steven coming in at Rob Shoe. What's your thoughts on getting Cordarrelle Patterson? I put that one out there. I like it. I like the idea of Cordarrelle. Stivers 209. Rob, I agree with you. Jimmy Garoppolo needs to be traded for 3 Three tropics to get to, three first-round picks to get Deshaun Watson for three tropics. Tropical vacations. Maybe it's tropical vacations that we need for the Deshaun Watson trade. I'm just kidding, Stivers. I think that you need a lot more first-round picks to throw in with Jimmy if you're trying to get any type of a freaking deal done for Deshaun Watson. But I don't think that we are going to get Deshaun Watson. I don't think we want him. Bullpup 33 at Rob. I miss a playmaker at the safety spot. How do we solve this? We trade up in the draft and we fricking select Jalen Petrie. I think that's who I'm most excited about getting early in the draft because I just don't see anyone else out there unless we make a big swing on Honey Badger, which I agree. I think he is well out of our price range at this point. Unless you get Honey Badger, there's just not that many playmakers out there. And I do believe that Jalen Petrie, he looked so fluid. I know that he's sort of one of those guys that you're not sure where to play him, but he's just a stud. I feel like you get him out there with Jimmy Ward and the rest of the secondary, and then you figure it out. That would be my stance. All right, a couple of the previously submitted questions. Here we go. This one coming in from Alex. Why does our front office suck so much? Alex asks. Alex was expressing a lot of the emotion that I sensed in 49ers Twitter yesterday until we had that cornerback signing. Everybody was pissed. I will answer this to the question. The front office doesn't suck, but I'm sure that you know that. I'm sure you're just expressing some of your angst, and I get that. I understand that wholeheartedly, Alex. They're pursuing a pretty specific strategy. Once you've paid 5 to 7 guys at the top of their field, and the Niners are there or will be there when they add Bosa and Debo to the mix, then you've got to be selective how you build out the rest of the team. Matt Mayoko just went through on one of his more recent podcasts and broke down and pointed out the difference between the Rams team building strategy and the Niners. And he basically pointed out they have a very similar number of top end contracts, guys getting paid at the top end of their position. And then they both also have a ton of guys making, league minimum, team friendly deals, veteran players, young players, journeyman players, all in that low range. The difference is the Niners have a few guys in the $3 to $8 million category, like the middle class, and the Rams have completely eliminated the middle class, much like the rest of this country. Just get rid of the middle class, make it the rich and the poor. And quite honestly, I don't think that's a terrible strategy. I like the Niners strategy, but I think they could skew a little bit more towards the Rams in that regard. In that once you've signed those big names, they help you attract all of those journeymen. Like people say to themselves, well, if I'm going to take a crappy contract, I might as well go to the Rams because they just won the Super Bowl. They got a chance to win it again. The Niners need to be that team where they have enough studs at the top end on their team and they don't pay people in the middle. They just fill out the rest of the roster with affordable guys and guys that want to chase a ring. I do think there's something to that strategy there. This one was funny. Thomas, I got to do the whole one. This was an email from Thomas, and it came in that the subject line was rage, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Now, admittedly, it came in on the first day of the tampering yesterday before the Charvarius Ward news came out. So, it was the end of the day. We were all frustrated. Here it was. Rob, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Love your work. Keep it up. Thomas Luttrell here. What is going on with our beloved 49ers? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Seems like the front office is risking a full-on fan revolt the longer they hold on to number 10. With reports that SF is playing hardball over number 10's trade value, will this damage how the fan base looks at the front office, especially since there were rumored offers on the table? My phone's just got an alert that Pittsburgh signed Trubisky. Talk me off the ledge, Rob. Sincerely, Thomas L. Thomas, that was a delightful email. I didn't I didn't take any joy in your frustration. I was feeling similar frustration, just hoping to get some news, just hoping to get something. And then we did. And that was nice. I've got to say, I think we are going to have patience because I think patience is going to be needed throughout the rest of this experience as well. I know it's tough. And yes, it does look like the Niners may have overplayed their hand with Jimmy Garoppolo. I think it might be a certainty at this point that they overplayed it, and they may get less back for it. But I'm going to wait and see what comes out of this before I fully condemn them for anything that they've done. But I get your pain, Thomas. I feel it as well. It's been a very frustrating, and it just keeps dragging on and on and on and on. And we just want off this ride. We just want off this ride. Johnny E snuck in with a last-minute question, and it was a two-parter, but I got it in here, Johnny. You are good. Rob, I have a two-part. Did the 49ers just seal Jimmy G's fate with the recent free agent signings, cap-wise? If so, in your opinion, will he be traded or cut? I say yes and no to answer that first part of that one. Yes and no. I mean, yes, Jimmy's fate is sealed, but it's not because of the recent free agent signings. The Niners can still get underneath the cap simply by restructuring a couple of contracts. But I will say, I think there's close to a 0% chance as I'm willing to say without definitive proof. Close to a 0% chance. I'm never going to rule anything out completely unless I have evidence that supports that. But close to a 0% chance that Jimmy's on the roster with Trey next year. However, I do think John Lynch, again, is stubborn enough to keep Jimmy on the frickin' roster beyond the start of the new league year that happens tomorrow at 1 p.m. Fans will freak the F out. So will I to some degree. And it's just out of frustration and just wanting to end the madness, not out of believing that somehow screws the 49ers, because it does not. I think the bottom line is he gets traded and the Niners get reasonable value for him in return. They're not getting a 1, but I also don't think they're getting a 5 or a 6. I still believe that there is trade value to Jimmy G. I will gladly admit that I am wrong if it turns out otherwise. All right, getting back into your questions in the chat. Believe me, if you want it read, not believe me. Remember, if you want it read, put in @Rob or @RobShoe as you are typing out the question. If I see another one that's worth bringing it in, I always try to bring it in as well. But if you type in the @RobShoe, I know you're talking to me. Daniel is doing so. @RobShoe. Niners need to go all in this season like the Bucs and the Rams did in the past 2 years. Comp picks are good for the midterm future. We need to get the Jimmy G money and go make a good splash in free agency. Hello from Mexico? Daniel, hello from Mexico. Yes, I would agree that the Niners could make a deeper run, have a better chance at success this year if they get rid of Jimmy and then make a splash. I do wonder, this is going to be the first year of the Trey Lance experiment. I have optimism, but if the Niners are hedging their bet a little bit, they might not go all in right away. They could wait and do a mid-season trade for somebody that could take them over the top this year. They might just wait and see if Trey Lance wins a lot of games, because what happens if you go all in and then Trey, understandably so, because the dude is 21 years old, has some rookie struggles, and now you've wasted a season, but you brought in a bunch of guys to try and make the push. So I just wonder if they hedge their bet a little bit. Nicholas @RobShoe, 2:02 a.m. in Germany, but I want to hear that Jimmy is traded. Nicholas, I wish I had that news for you right now. This is the other spot that my ancestors hail from. Ireland and Germany are both in the house tonight. You obviously would know how to spell my last name, Shoe. It probably seems really easy to you. And all these chats where people misspell it, you're like, what in the world? Why can't people spell shoe? It would be as if us Americans couldn't spell SHOE. But Nicholas, I do hope we get that news. I think it probably happens while you are resting your head, unfortunately, unless you just pull an all-nighter. Frank coming in for your sweet beard. Also, who will be our Nickelback? I talked about this earlier. First and foremost, thank you, Frank. That is kind of you. I always love a good beard compliment. That's the way to my heart. And I will say, I think that Matt Barrows may be onto something. I think the 49ers may have within their current roster everything they need to fill out the nickel cornerback position, in that E-Man can play nickel and he can slide inside. Again, this goes back to what the Niners did in 2011 with Carlos Rogers and Culliver. And so it was Rogers who would slide inside to play the nickel on nickel downs when the nickel passing crew came in. I think you could see a similar thing if we do not sign a nickel cornerback. I don't think K'Wan Williams is coming back. But I do have my eye on Marcus. Marcus Jones. Marcus Jones. I would love to have Marcus Jones on our team. I think we could draft him in the 3rd. Syard coming in. Sorry, I let this linger. My apologies. No ill will towards Grant, but the best thing about his show was getting to meet the shoe. No one is as objective, succinct, real, and all Niners all the time. You've earned a sneakerhead for life. Syard, thank you so much for saying that. Thank you for the donation. Thank you for the support. Thank you to Grant. I mean, honestly, it was in the banter with him that I discovered this love, that I actually realized this was something I wanted to do. I always knew I liked communicating with people. I always knew that I had a knack for presentation. That was always something that I did within my career. And I never thought I would be lucky enough to be able to talk about the San Francisco 49ers in any type of paid capacity. And that seems to be the trajectory that I am on with this, limited success that I have had so far here on YouTube and in getting to the NFL Combine and in growing my own personal brand. I believe this is just the start. And I am thankful to those of you that have been here since the beginning. So thank you for that. Really appreciate it. All right. LOL, you thought coming in at Rob Shue. I'm tired of all the outside noise. Brady this, Rodgers that. Just try and get Christian Watson for Trey and develop him through training camp. And let's get that 6th ring. Bang, bang. All right. So I think there was a comma that I could have used in there. I'm just kidding. I'm just giving you a hard time. But so I get it. Different thoughts. The Brady and Rodgers, forget all that noise you're saying. Christian Watson, go get him, pair him with Trey, let the kid freaking go. I agree with that sentiment. I would love to see Christian Watson with the Niners. I do think he'll be long gone by the time we get to pick, unless we get a 2nd rounder for Jimmy and can package a couple of picks. But I agree. Put all the weapons you can around Trey. Let the young gentleman have some success. Rainier coming in at Rob. Since the Niners let Laken sign with the Jets, which offensive line guys do you see them going for? I don't know that there is anyone in free agency they have their eye on. There is no one left that is at that level of instant starter. I think Aaron Banks is the projected left guard, and I believe they bring back Brunskill and then draft an interior O lineman in that 3rd, 4th round range. That's my prediction. Kelch Chronicles, sneakerhead here on the channel at Rob Shue. If the 49ers aren't under the cap by tomorrow, do the 49ers get penalized? Yes, there are strict penalties, and they include $5 million fines, potential loss of draft picks. But I've honestly never heard of it, and I cannot imagine the Niners being over the cap. They just make a couple of changes, extend a couple of deals, they get under, even if Jimmy is still on the team. I know nobody wants to hear the fact that he might be, but he might be. Leo coming in, sneakerhead at Rob. NFL just officially announced 39 compensatory picks for developing minority candidates. 49ers are getting 5. Not all of those were for developing minority candidates. They were for free agents that go and did not return, right? But yes, one of the 3rd rounders that the Niners got were for developing minority candidates, and the Niners did get a league high 5 picks. The surprise there was everyone had predicted that the Niners were getting 3 compensatory 7th round picks. What it turned out to be was 2 6th round compensatory and 1 7th round. So 2 of our 7th rounders got bumped up to 6th rounders. That's fantastic. To me, that was a win because the Niners do pretty well with those late draft picks. I like our scout team. Art the Collector at Rob. I like Petrie, but is Tavarius Moore still in the picture? He is. His last year of his contract told, because he was in the 4th year of his contract. He blew out his Achilles because of when it happened, because of the way in which it happened. That last year of his contract didn't count, so he came back on that 4th year again. Jan, Rob's favorite quote. In that regard, and indeed seem to be fallback phrases. I've not caught myself saying in that regard, but now I will be conscious of it. Someone pointed out my tendency early on in broadcasting to say indeed. Yes, indeed. It's like a filler for me. I've been great at removing ers, stutters from my speech for the most part. That's not entirely true. I still do have, when I get excited, a little bit of a stutter. But there are crutch words that all of us have. And when I learn of them, I try to reduce them. I'm conscious enough of the way in which I present myself. Typically, I can remove it from my dialogue, but I wasn't even clear that I said this, Jan. And so this one may be there for a little while. You may just have to hear it. It may become your new drinking game. Alan, at Rob, patience is a virtue. My parents always told me to be patient. What do you want? What you want will come to you in time. Ready for Trey area time. Amen to that, Alan. Be patient. Know that we will get some late free agency additions. I am telling you, we will make some moves. Steve Avia, another sneakerhead here on the channel coming in at Rob. I'm late to the party. What did I miss? You missed me singing. You go back. If you got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them. I think I crushed it. Like 50 people bailed from the stream when I did it. I'm kidding. People didn't bail. They smashed the like button when I sang and they said it was magnificent. I'm lying a little bit now, but you did miss that. You did miss me singing. Any thoughts on who will replace DJ Jones? Smash the like button, 49er faithful. GBU Rob, get back up. Goodbye you. What is GBU? I don't know acronyms very well. Steve, help me out. GBU, get back, get bent you. I don't know, Steve. All right, let me answer your question. I think Javon Kinlaw is the answer for the 49ers. I think when both DJ Jones and Laken Tomlinson left, the Niners said to themselves, we got to hope that we were right about Javon Kinlaw. We got to hope that we were right about Aaron Banks. The fill-in people we're already on the roster. Joey coming in, something to consider, Rob. Teams use their media to get their narrative out. It is in the Colts' interest for there to be a narrative that the 49ers overplayed their hand. Thoughts? Yes, that is true. And again, that's why I'm not making snap judgments until everything falls into place. I still do hold out the fact that Jimmy's going to be traded. I know you may think I'm crazy. Nicholas, Rob Shu, 2:11 a.m. in Germany, but I want to hear that Jimmy is traded. It's 9 minutes later, still waiting on that Jimmy news. Paul Perryman, at Rob Shu, if we have offers, very well that Jimmy nicks them. It very well could be that Jimmy nicks them. The same, give the Niners the benefit of the doubt. 2 NFC championship games in 3 years affords them that. Chill out, people. I agree with the whole chill out. The Niners deserve some credit for things they have done. Darren Worthington, at Rob, you already answered my 2 questions that weren't read. You the man, my friend. Love your show, bro. Appreciate you, Darren. Thank you. Stivers, anytime someone agrees with me, that gets on. I agree with you, Rob, to try it up to go to the Super Bowl next year to get the 6th trophy. Yeah, I mean, I think that you want to get the 6th trophy for sure. Joey, at Rob, something to consider. Teams use their, we just went through that one. Oh, here we go. Matt Shug coming in, one of our sneakerheads. I trust this implicitly. Well, that's not true, Matt. Sometimes you get fooled by those troll accounts, right? Like, so now I got to verify it because a couple of times you were laughing about that fact that you got. Nope, Brunskill. This news is real. Brunskill was just tendered. I'm telling you, I predicted that Brunskill would be back. Look at that. Brunskill is back. I love it when a good plan comes together. Slick Niner. Thank you, Matt, by the way. Slick Niner coming in at Rob Shu. Do you think Houston wanted Lance, so the 49ers drafted him and kept him healthy for the trade chip for Watson pending the court outcome? Man, that deserves the Tin Hat Award right there, Slick Niner. I am not in any way making fun of you. I am making fun of how crazy we have gotten in this projection of like what may or may not have transpired. I mean, that would be elite if the Niners did that. I don't believe it for a second. I'm not a conspiracy type of guy, but I have to give you credit for creativity in just thinking that up. You get the Tinfoil Hat Award. Thank you for that. That was wonderful. Russell James, Rob, you do seem like you are enjoying your job more than some others I like. I appreciate that. I freaking love this, Russell. Love it. I could do it all day, 8 hours straight if I just had enough water here. And I don't. My mugs aren't big enough. Need bigger mugs. Google account, very generic, saying at Rob Shue, with the Niners limping into the playoffs and almost beating the super team Rams in the playoffs, do you think it's better to build a super team or better to just have a better quarterback? I think the Niners strategy, add a quarterback, is the best strategy. That's what I think. Ooh, I missed some super chats and I apologize. Johnny Robinson, who do you think is our starting O-line and D-line? Okay, offensive line, left to right. We got Trent Williams, lock. Aaron Banks, I think, is penciled in as the left guard. Alex Mack is coming back at center. Daniel Brunskill was just tendered, so I think he's going to be right guard, but I think he'll be competing with someone like Cole Strange. And then right tackle will be Mike McGlinchey, but we're going to need someone for the first couple of games. Mike, his injury could linger. That could be one. We've talked about, do the Niners add any free agents? They may add a veteran tackle toward the end of this thing on the cheap. But you also could see them go with Colton McKivitz or the other rookie from last year. The name is escaping me at the moment. You could go either one of those at right tackle, filling in for McGlinchey until coming back. Joshua coming in as our latest sneakerhead here on the channel. Joshua Braid Horse. I'm going with Braid Horse. Joshua, correct me if I am wrong about that, please. And then I saw we got a couple of other. Steve Avia coming in. GBU means, oh, God bless you, good sir. Man, I should have known. I should have known that. And thank you. God bless you as well. I hope that I hope you are in good spirits and in good health. Look at this. Joshua saying, Rob, found a way to join on mobile device, trick the system. Joshua, well done. Yes, if you turn on the web browser and open that instead of a mobile browser, that is a way to trick the system. It can be hard to find the sneakerhead login if you're on your mobile, which is weird. All right, Edgardo coming in. What does it mean to be tendered? So a restricted free agent means that they can't really negotiate. They're not free to negotiate with other teams. You tender them with a particular, there are different tenders that are offered. Same round tender, second round tender, first round tender. Each one comes with a price tag, a salary that you must then pay that individual. And so if I saw it correctly, David Lombardi put out Daniel Brunskill, he's going to get at least 2.43. So I think that means he was tendered with a second round. That could also be the original round. No, right of first refusal level is 2.43. So what that means is any other team can come in and offer a contract to Daniel Brunskill. The Niners have first right of refusal. If they match the offer, then they keep him. If not, then they lose him. So, yeah, that's what right of first refusal is. But they could have tendered him with more. If they valued him beyond that, they would have had to pay him more. But they could have done a second round tender, which would mean another team could sign him, but would have to compensate the 49ers with a second round draft pick. But that would have bumped his 1 year salary up to like 3-something million. Right now, he's at 2.4 million. They can still negotiate a long-term deal if they so choose. Harris laughing at the fact that I was wearing a tinfoil hat. Yes, I hope that wasn't offensive to anybody. Johnny Robinson, can you answer my super chat? Did I miss it, or was that one of the recent ones that I just got to? Oh, yes, I went through that. Oh, but let me finish that off. So I said O-line, but let me go back to D-line. Thank goodness I read that second comment that brought me back to the D-line. So on D-line, I think you've got Javon Kinlaw is their hope to fill in for DJ Jones. Eric Armstead is the other interior. And then you've got Nick Bosa on one edge. And my guess is that you have a competition between Samson Ebukam, who's earning more money, and Charles Omenihu, who also is coming on strong. Both those guys closed out the year doing well. So, excuse me. I think it is that mix for the D-line. Johnny, I'm glad that I went back and got the defensive line. I think you had already posted that comment when I did that, but I'm telling you, that Niner guy, the fact that you have a tinfoil hat handy is just something. Well done, sir. Yes, this time of year, I just had a feeling that there would be some wild things that came out, and I needed the hat. All right, Frank Hanna coming in. Touchdown to interception for Trey in, yes, leading wide receiver. Okay, so I think what you're asking here is what's the touchdown to interception ratio for Trey going to be next year? I believe that he will continue his sort of conservative approach to testing defenses. He went through North Dakota State without throwing an interception for an entire season. I think he is capable of being tight and prudent with the football. I would predict that he doesn't have a wild statistical season from a passing touchdown perspective. I would put him somewhere in the 25 to 28 touchdown range. And I would probably guess that it is 10 interceptions. So I would say 25 and 10, about a 2.5 to 1 touchdown to interception ratio, which would be better than Jimmy's 2 to 1 interception ratio. Leading wide receiver, I think Brandon Ayuk, because of the time he's spending with Trey Lance, is going to be the favorite to be the leading wide receiver, because Debo, he's getting carries, and that's taking away from, you watched as his carries went up in the second half of the season, his receptions went down. George Kittle hasn't emerged as the elite receiving threat that he was in 2020. Although I do think he's going to have a bounce back year. And right now, you couldn't say Jawan Jennings is going to be the guy, could you? And really, that's it at this point. So, yeah, Brandon Ayuk for now. Jimmy J, at Rob Shue, here's a tinfoil hat moment. The reason Jimmy hasn't been traded is due to working a 3-team deal with Tampa and Indy. Colts get Jimmy, we get Brady, and Tampa gets picks from us both. LOL. That is deserving of the tinfoil hat. Yes, it is. That is deserving. That's creative. I like it, Jimmy J. I mean, I don't like it. I want Trey to start at this point. I would be okay if the GOAT came to San Francisco. But honestly, I feel like he's rebuked us as well at this point. And so, I kind of just want to say I'm done with that. Wash my hands of you, Mr. Brady. We have Trey Lance. Steve Avia, at Rob, I'm an SF Giants fan, and I don't like when we sign former Giant killers, and I feel the same type of way when the 49ers sign former rivals. I didn't want Charvarius Ward, nor do I want Tyrann Mathieu. Anyone else? I think that, Jack Hammer had thrown out I don't know if he's still available, but it's the Steelers safety who was still out there. I liked him as well as a candidate. I think it's more likely that the 49ers stick with Tarvarius Moore and Talanoa Hufanga and add a rookie to the mix and then have that competition. Joshua saying, yes, Rob, it's German. Pronounce E like Y. Brady Horst. Okay, I like that. Thank you, Joshua. I always appreciate good pronunciation. Dog Fishhead coming in. Good show, Beard Life. Here's to the Beard Life. Look at that. Got to get that into focus. I am telling you. Here we go. Anytime there is a comment about the beard, it is making the show. Golden Fang correctly pointing out, yes, it is Edmonds, the safety for the Steelers. Is he still available? I haven't seen any notes about him yet. I think that could be a candidate that the 49ers view. I like that as an addition. Good safety to add to the mix. Mr. Nobody. By the way, have you guys seen, I think it's a movie called Mr. Nobody with the dude from Better Call Saul. It's a phenomenal, over-the-top movie. I love it. Freaking love it. It's like I don't want to give away the plot line if you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. The dude from Better Call Saul, and it's something Nobody. Mr. Nobody, something like that. It's really good, though. That is my vote of confidence. That was a terrible movie review right there. But if you trust me, go out and see for yourself, and then we shall see if I was right about it. Yes, Jimmy J, Just Nobody. That's the name of it. Just Nobody. Great movie. I'm telling you. Yes, people have seen it. The Golden Fang has seen it. Heartless has seen it. It's Just Nobody. Oh, it's not Just Nobody. It is Just Nobody. Nobody is the title. That is what it is. Alan, at Rob, I love my beard. Yours looks good. Hey, beard brothers got to stick together. Let me tell you. Heartless came in with a question here. At Rob Shoe, we now have a Ward combo in the secondary. Brings a new meaning to double covered. Whatever is your favorite nickname for this duo? Ooh. We do need a nickname. I mean, we will at least need a nickname for one of them so that we don't say Ward and somebody's like, "What? Wait, what? Which Ward are you talking about? Are you talking about that Ward or that Ward?" We're gonna have to come up with a nickname. I don't know what it is offhand, but we now all have an assignment. We have an assignment to get creative. So do whatever you need to do to get creative. Come back to the table with those ideas. We'll powwow. Felipe at Shoe. I've never seen Nobody the movie. It was better. I've seen Nobody the movie. It was better than I thought it was. I agree. It was pleasantly surprising. Steve Avia. Rob, anyone else who might have caught your eye besides Cole Strange at the Combine that would be a good fit on the 49ers? A ton. I mentioned them earlier, although a lot of them would be gone. But yes, God, why do I keep Marcus Jones is my favorite, and I can't remember his last name. Literally, I'm trying to trick myself saying Marcus Jones, like Mike Jones, to get Jones in there. Every time I see it, I see Marcus, Jalen Petrie, Christian Watson. But as far as other offensive linemen, I did like Donovan West. I definitely was impressed by his interview, and there was another offensive lineman that I wasn't wowed by, but it's not coming to me at the moment. But I do have a long list of folks that I have my eye on, and I'm going to continue to bring them up and put out some of my draft crushes as we get closer. Dustin Kohler in the building. At Rob, I just come for the tin hat. Thank you. You are welcome, Dustin, anytime. As a Detroit Lion fan, I know that you need some additional entertainment. I am here to provide it for you, good sir. Thank you, Dustin. Jamie Hess at Rob, what do the 49ers do at tight end 2? Free agent or draft? I like draft, and this is one of the guys that I have. Jelani Woods, I have a crush on. Oh, my goodness. I watched him. So I see him first at the bench press. I didn't catch his presser because I was busy interviewing like Donovan West and Cole Strange, and all these guys went at the same time. They had like 12 or 14 podiums, and 12 or 14 guys would speak at the same time. So you had to select who you wanted to get in front of. But Jelani Woods then on the bench press crushed it, sets the record for the tight ends on that day, 24 reps, and I got it on film. So I was like, all right, dude is strong, but he's 6'7", 260 pounds. So I'm like, he won't impress in the drills, but I'll keep my eye on him. Dude's got strength, and he runs a 4.6 40 at 6'7", 260 pounds. Now, he does catch a little bit like Vernon Davis early in his career. He had 7.5% drop rate, which is like fourth worst tight end in college football last year. That is true. And he does a little bit of the alligator arms, like try to pin it to your chest. You know what I'm talking about if you watch Vernon Davis. But when he has the ball in his hands, as a yak bro, this guy would kill it. You want to tackle a 6'7", 260 pound man that's running a 4.6 40? I don't think so. I think you get out of his way. So Jelani Woods, I think he could be had in the 5th round. He should have been a 6th rounder, but then the Combine shot him up. Might be a 4th rounder. I think the Niners can still land him in the 5th. We got nickname suggestions coming in. Josh Mangold, Psych Ward. I like that. Mr. Nobody, the Psycho Ward. These are good starts. These are good starts. That Niner guy at Rob Shoe. Again, if you want to hit the comment, hit at Rob or at Rob Shoe when you're speaking to me. That way I know it's a question that's intended for the mailbag man. Here we go. At Rob Shoe, this Jimmy trade search has turned Niner fans into Charlie looking for Pepe Silvio. Yes, we need to get that up. We need Charles from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Charlie in the mailroom looking for Pepe Silvia. I don't recall. Anyway, he was looking for Pepe. And he had some theories. Let me tell you. Ooh, Google account says, at Rob, the Wardens of the backfield. Tommy pointing out the eraser is Jimmy Ward's nickname. Good point. He does already have a nickname. Now we just need one for both. Ooh, Anthony, double Cov Ward. Double covered? Like it's kind of sounds like double covered, but it's covered. And that's interesting. Geely pointing out from Nobody, the movie, the bus scene is amazing. It is. I was just watching that last night. It's like on Showtime right now. So when it's on, if I catch a scene like that, I'll just watch it. And that is amazing when he's just like asking for the fight in that scene. I'm telling you. The Ward brothers, Ward bros. People are trying to get the name going. Someone on Twitter said Psych Ward rated R, like in an R-rated version of it with some curse words, or that was the whole thing. Joshua putting in that it may just be Psych Ward rated R. I'd be okay with that. This one is interesting. Slick Niner. Ryan Balaga, released by the Chargers, as was expected after they signed some of their big ticket items. Thoughts on taking a look at him? I think that's the type of value guard that the Niners could take a look at. I wouldn't be terribly excited about that, but to get some depth, I can't really pass on bringing in good depth. Ramon, at Rob, we shall call them the Psych Ward when they go crazy on the opposition next season. People are liking the Psych Ward. Brandon, at the left shoe, will the 49ers address pass rush in free agency? Who's a realistic option? I think Dante Fowler is still a realistic option if he's out there. He was he was released before free agency started, and I see him as he can't be the guy, but he could be the backup to the guy. So when you have a Nick Bosa, he could be the complementary guy. Go back and look at his stats when he was with the Rams. When he was with Atlanta as the guy, not so successful. With the Rams as a complementary pass rusher, very successful. Luke Walsh, at Rob Shue, Baker Mayfield's preferred destination if traded is the Colts. Pro Football Network. I'm telling you, maybe that opens up the freaking Browns as a place for Jimmy. Could be. Worst YouTuber ever, says at Rob. Do we still need to move Jimmy, cut or trade before 1 tomorrow to get under the cap? We don't have to. We should. We don't have to. We can extend some other contracts. We haven't seen those extensions yet. You got the D Ford renegotiation that occurred. That freed up some money. They would still need more. So if we don't see those extensions, look for Jimmy to be gone. Mikey coming in at Shoe. Dude, are we really going to keep OK Jimbo P? OK Jimbo P. I'm not familiar with that nickname, but yes, it's possible we keep him beyond the trade deadline. Not into next season. No. Drippy Dad at Rob. What are your thoughts on Lewis Sign, Georgia safety? And do you think he would be a good pick for us? I do. I like Sign. I thought he was good. He is one of the names on my list. No question about it. It didn't stand out to me an incredible amount, but yes, I thought he was solid. Steve Avia at Rob. What does the C Ward signing say about Ambry Thomas, though? I don't think anything. I think the 49ers just realized they needed depth and they needed a premier option, and they couldn't count on Ambry Thomas to take that next step. He still might, and he still might displace either one of the outside corners. Tommy Huxley, I'll see you backstage, Baldy. Jim Carrey. I'm not from I'll see you backstage, Baldy. Which movie is that from? You have to refresh my memory which Jim Carrey flick that is, Tommy. I'm sure I've seen it. I'm sure. Julian at Rob, who do you think we will draft? I haven't gotten there yet. I am going to put out mock drafts soon. Look for it. I'm telling you. Ellis, 10. Rob, 2-part question. I stole this from Between Two Ferns. What would you grade the current trades by the 49ers, and what trades would you like to see tomorrow? There haven't been any trades by the Niners, right? But the current pickups I like. How would I grade them? I would give an incomplete on Charvarius Ward because I need to see the contract. I like, if I'm just grading the talent and I'm taking the contract out of it, I give it a B+. I like the signing. I really like the signing. If it's a value, if I see that contract relative to what JC Jackson got and I say, ooh, man, we saved some coin, then I will bump that up to like an A-. And in regard to our core special teamer, I go A just because I'm thrilled to see the Niners investing in special teams. And I would give an A+ to any trade that brought in a kick returner. Goodness gracious, let's get a kick returner. This is a reasonable suggestion, Joey says. At Rob, Justin Houston could be a realistic value for the pass rusher. Still efficient at 33 years old. Yes, that was someone I thought the Niners could go after last year, and they did not. Anthony, at Rob, will it be impossible to land Chandler Jones? It is not impossible. I do think that it's unlikely. He would need to choose the 49ers as their destination. Stivers saying, hey, Rob Shue, you have to be on NFL Network to speak on TV. I would love that. And then following up to ask, am I going to be live during the NFL draft? I will be in Vegas, most definitely. I will be there with Dustin Kohler, who was here in the chat. Yes, I will be in Las Vegas, and I will be going live throughout the draft. All right, we got a super chat. Joe Stoll, I'm late. What's up? Joe Stoll, you missed some singing. You missed me talking about the Jimmy trade. You missed, who I'm in love with in the draft. There's a lot of stuff you're going to have to go back through and watch. That's just the reality of it. But I will say it's been a good show. It's been good interaction. And I appreciate you, Joe, as a sneakerhead here on the channel, coming in to say what's up, coming in with the super chat. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. Steve Avia, Rob, wouldn't that be such a shame if Jimmy got traded to the Browns? I actually think that's a good blue-collar kind of fit for a guy like Jimmy. I wouldn't feel bad for him at all. I think that's a good team. Yeah, it's a tough division, but man, they are a stacked team in my book. They're just a quarterback away. I don't know that Jimmy's that quarterback, but they're just a quarterback away. Felipe, at Rob, you think Jimmy is out tomorrow? This is a tough one. I would have said undoubtedly if you had asked me at the end of last week. I would have said undoubtedly. And now I'm not so sure. Now I think there's a chance the Niners get stubborn and he's on the roster beyond 1 p.m. Other dominoes have to fall. It's hard to predict. I think it's like a 50-50 chance. It may be 60-40 one way or the other, but I think it's very close. I don't think it is clearly going one direction or the other. I think it could backfire on the 49ers, and that feels crazy to me. At Rob, did you make a bracket for March Madness? Not yet, but I will. Here we go. How about them Niners? At Rob, if Jimmy's the eraser, then Char is the chalk. I like it. Oh, Tommy, Man on the Moon. Tony Clifton said it to Danny DeVito. That is a good movie. A great role by Jim Carrey. Very intense. Yes, Ellis, I figured as much that you meant moves and not trades. It happens. Happens to the best of us. Google account, at Rob, I want another edge rusher to complement Bosa. Do you think Boye Mafe will be available at round 3? No, I do not think Boye Mafe is going to be available at 61 when we first pick at the end of round 2. He was originally going to be there in projections, but after the combine, everything I'm seeing has him creeping up to the start of the second round. That is not good for us in grabbing that edge. I think Nick Bonito is gone as well. Those are my 2 top picks at edge that seemed like maybe we would have a chance. Jamie Hess, at Rob, what do you feel we will do at running back? Sign Mostert, free agent, or draft? I think it is either Mostert or the draft. And if it's the draft, I think it's late in the draft or undrafted free agent. I think the Niners would be okay going into next year with Elijah Mitchell, Trey Sermon, Jermichael Hasty, and Jeff Wilson Jr., who I think they could get back on a vet minimum type of a deal. Ellis 10, Rob, you're the man. Faithful, hit that like button. Amen to that. If you can hit that like button, I appreciate it. It amplifies the signal. It helps me get my message out there. And you know that's what I'm all about. All right, let's keep going here. I was about to say, man, end on the positivity, end on that, but I can't. I cannot. You're still asking questions. There's still nearly 300 of you chilling. I am bringing it in. Indeed. Indubitably. Joshua, Brady Horsts, at Rob. I hate comparisons. I do too, because it always throws shade on one or the other. But Lance will be a Josh Allen-Russell hybrid. Interesting. I like that mix. I really like that mix. I would love that. I would love any hybrid that involves any traits of Josh Allen and Russell. I'm still very, very optimistic. Julian, at Rob, do you think that Trey will be a starter or do you think he will be a backup and the Niners will get another starter? Trey is a starter, 100%, and he deserves patience. Steve Avia, at Rob, think there's a chance Jimmy stays and takes a pay cut? Yeah, I do think there's a chance. Not into next season, but I do think that beyond the trade deadline. Stivers, I know you got answered here, but hey, Rob, are you live in the Bay Area? Do I live in the Bay Area or the Central Valley in California? I have lived in the Bay Area. I grew up in Palo Alto, California. I've lived in Southern California. I went to school at University of the Pacific in the 209 in Stockton. So I spent 7 or 8 years of my life. Yeah, it took me 7 or 8 years to go back and forth between college, junior college, dropping out, doing some things on the side. I was a troublemaker at one point in my life. I have lived throughout California. I am now in Portland, Oregon. That's where I'm broadcasting from. Rob Smith in the house. What's up, Rob? Hi, Rob. I hope you are well. Thank you for a great show and have a nice evening. That's very kind of you to just come in and say that, Rob. I am well. I'm doing very well. I am anxious about where the Niners are and this approaching deadline. I thought it was going to be a clear-cut decision on trading Jimmy. I thought there was going to be a market. The Niners did overplay that hand. I appreciate the fact that you think it was a good show, and I hope you have a pleasant evening as well, Rob. I mean, you're almost guaranteed to have a pleasant evening when your name is Rob. That's just the way it works. Name your children Robert if you want them to have nice lives. At Rob, do you think there's a possibility Jimmy humbles himself, takes a pay cut since he's damaged good, and stays as Trey's backup? Steve, I mean, I think, sure, a possibility. I just don't think that would be healthy for the team. From a backup perspective, it would be great to have a talent like that backing up Trey. From like a cancerous locker room, stress, everybody calling for it, man, that would be tough. Real tough. Stivers thinking that I'm taking song requests here. I got to feel it. I gotta feel it before I get into the chorus. And sometimes I got to hear it so that I'm in the right key because I am not a natural singer. I can carry a tune. Here we go. Luke Walsh, at Rob Shoe, Audi R8 or Corvette C8 Z06. Corvette, please. I do have a soft spot for American made. That's not to say that I haven't ventured into some European, but I am obsessed with the new Corvette Z06. So that one to me would be me and Debo rolling in the Vets. Can't go wrong with an Audi R8 either, though. How about yes, one of each, please? Ellis 10, Rob, will you ever return to California? I don't know. Do I miss California? Yes, at times I do. It is sort of crazy to live there and price-wise, and I don't know where I would go to. My brother still lives in the Bay Area. My folks still live in wine country in Sonoma, so I visit there, and I still have friends in Southern California. I think I have found a new home here in Portland, Oregon. I just love everything being so green around here. It is what it is. Rob, are you a pizza or a burger kind of guy? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I love pizza. I love burgers. I'm a simple kind of guy, but I'm also a foodie. Like, I also love sushi. I also love some crazy stuff that's out there that, like, you may not eat, but I will try it. I'll try basically anything once, right? You got to try things in life. It's more fun that way. Jimmy J, at Rob, Jimmy needs to be off this roster as soon as freaking possible. I don't even care if they cut him at this point. The longer he's here, the more cancerous it becomes. I agree. Once we get beyond 1 p.m. tomorrow, the longer he's on the team after 1 p.m. tomorrow, the worse it gets because we get more frantic, rightfully so. Jamie Hess, at Rob, I'm conflicted as to why the Colts haven't made a move for a quarterback if they aren't in on Jimmy. Thoughts? I agree. It's very suspicious. And in talking to a source who is very close to the Indianapolis Colts, that was his sense as well. So I still do believe that the Colts are just playing hardball and that they finally make a lower offer and the Niners are forced to take it. Luke Walsh, is Portland truly a retirement community for young people? It kind of is. There's a vibe. There's a vibe around here of like people doing what they want to do, as you should. Do what makes you happy. Don't chase money. If money comes from what makes you happy, great. Find happiness first. Money doesn't buy happiness. If you're happy and you get money, you can do more stuff. But if you're unhappy, just getting money doesn't make you, that's my personal experience. Chase happiness at all cost. Not at all cost, not at other people's expense, but chase happiness. That's what's important. Iceman 0072 Hellcat or a Dodge Demon. How about a Dodge Demon? I've driven one of those. They're fun. Luke Walsh, the C8 Z06 is going to be amazing. Yes, it is. Joshua, Rob, when is the next inspirational monologue? Wait, are we referring to like when I did the speech from Any Given Sunday, or just me kind of getting up on my horse and say, because that could happen at any time. That could be in response to a comment. That could just be me feeling myself. That happens sporadically, I would say. All right, we have a super chat. Chris Royal coming in, sneakerhead on the channel, regular contributor, always good thoughts. Here we go. I like the surgical ward. That's good because they are about to get surgical on some wide receivers this year. We about to get surgical on their ass. Chris, that's a good one. That's a good one. Luke Walsh at Rob Shoe, raised in the North Bay since 1961, Santa Rosa since 1963. My folks live right off of Warm Springs, Bennett Valley Road. I bet you know it because it is right in between Glen Ellen and Santa Rosa. That's a dope area, Luke. That is a very nice area. Ellis 10, you seem very happy where you are. I am happy. I go through some things. Don't get me wrong, Ellis. Personal experience, I have tough things going on in my life. I have tough things going on in my life right now. I'm able to compartmentalize that while I'm here with you because I enjoy this so much, because these interactions mean so much to me. Being on this channel means so much to me. But as far as living in Portland, I couldn't ask for much more from a spot that offers so much from an outdoor perspective and just the freaking surrounding greenery and all of it. SG Sports Talk channel coming in to say hello. Hello, SG Sports Talk. Google account at Rob. Which will happen first? Niners winning another Super Bowl or Rob Shoe being an NFL analyst for a major sports network with that amazing sportscaster voice? I mean, I hope number two, but honestly, I would trade it for number one. Is that crazy that I would trade my career to get the Niners a sixth freaking Lombardi? That is crazy. I should probably change my priorities, but man, a sixth Lombardi, that would be phenomenal. Ooh, Brandon coming in at Rob, God of Ward. That's pretty good too. I'm telling you, we got some good nicknames popping up. SG Sports Talk, KFC or Popeyes? I would have said KFC because I hadn't really tried Popeyes except in the airport, and it's trash in the airport. I have since had a Popeyes chicken sandwich. Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. Popeyes is now. I don't eat fast food very much, but if I do, a Popeyes chicken sandwich is one that I have my eyes on. Ooh, Russell used to live in Oregon. I lived in Astoria for a while, Russell says. Lots of rain. I've still got webbed feet from that. I like Astoria. That is where Goonies was filmed. It looks like very much like an East Coast type of a freaking town. It has great fish and chips from that schooner, whatever that one that's like a boat just sitting there. I'm telling you. Ooh, Iceman dream car, Shelby GT350R. I was on the list to get a GT350 back when they first came out, and then I pulled myself from the list when they had all those transmission cooler issues that came out in the first year of production. I bailed. I was like, ooh, I don't want to deal with that. I have since looked at some used GT350s. The GT350R to drive around town would just be a little bit crazy with that front freaking lip that it has, but a dope car. That Voodoo, oh my goodness, the way it sings, I'm telling you, I love high revving engines, especially when they are still a freaking V8. Steve Avia at Rob, if I have faith as small as mustard seed, is there a chance we get DeForest back? I think we should let that go. I don't think we get him back. I think Indy loves him, as they should. GD5, Rob, the Niners need to just know when to fold them. No doubt. You trying to get me to sing again? You trying to get me to sing again? How about them Niners? Says Santa Rosa. That's where I'm at. We are reunited, and it feels so good. We're reuniting people. We're bringing people together. You asked for a song. You may regret it at this point, but there, you got a little something. Jamie Hess at Rob, since Lynch and Kyle said the Yorks on this plan, sold the Yorks on this plan to trade the capital for Lance, then not recovering picks when trading Jimmy G, will the seats be hot? I think it depends on whether the Niners are able to win this year. Winning solves everything. Luke Walsh at Rob Shue. No wonder we are angry at the location of Levi's Stadium. I'm telling you, my dad refuses to freaking go to Levi's Stadium. I don't think he's been yet. He's boycotting it. George Bailey, the 2.0. I was going to say the second, but no, you're 2.0. At Rob, when is the Matthew McConaughey lawyer voice coming back? That was a good one, right? For those that saw the skit I did with Grant way back in the day, that was one of those things that was sort of off the cuff. I should bring it back. Stivers, do I miss In-N-Out Burger in California? You know I do. Google account. Rob, are you a pineapple on pizza guy? I'm an everything is okay on pizza type of guy. So yes, I'm okay with it. I actually think it's like the Canadian bacon and pineapple is okay. I like the sweetness of pineapple on pizza that blends with all of the other flavors that are in there. But a pineapple and pepperoni pizza with a little bit of the spiciness from the pepperoni and the sweetness of the pineapple, if you haven't given it a try, give it a day in court from a good pizza spot, pineapple and pepperoni. I may have just offended some people. Ooh, Luke pointing out great fish and chips in Bend at Deschutes Brewery. Deschutes is good. Now we're on to food things. I'm surprised that we still have 230 people hanging out, listen to food recommendations. And I love it because we're here answering questions. You got a question? Put it in the chat. Get involved. Andrew Leggett at Rob Shue. I like the stats on the new Ward. Oh, I thought that was going to be a name, but no, you like the stats. That's good. Can't wait to see it on our team. I agree. Some of those stats that are put out there, those advanced metrics, he looks pretty freaking good. Jimmy J, dream car for me, 67 Camaro SS. Jimmy, I've got one of those. I have a 67 Camaro RS SS. It's a project car, and it's been under construction for 12 years, but I have one of those. It is triple black. It has a beautiful front. What the hell is the name of the nose stripe on the Camaro there? It was, there was like a name to it, the style of striping on the front there. Anyway, I have it in like this space gray. The rims have like a space gray on them to match that, but I don't think it'll ever actually be done. It's one of those that just is an ongoing project. Martin, why is this team moneyballing? Because they have paid like 6 or 7 people at the tops of their field, and they're about to add to that. It's at 7 when you put in Bosa and Debo, but they're about to sign those contracts, and so they have to fill out the rest of the roster with inexpensive additions. Unfortunately, I do think that they have hamstrung themselves with some of these middle ground contracts in that $3 to $8 million range, and I would prefer that they do take a little page from the Rams book. Continue to have those top end guys, but then fill out the rest with people that are chasing the ring. Timothy asks, it's kind of an insult, so I'll just read it because Timothy, I don't like to throw shots at Jimmy, even though people do. At Rob, if we just cut Jimmy, do we still owe him any money at all? I think we owe him whatever is guaranteed money for this year he gets. We save a considerable amount. I think the dead money is like $2 million or something like that. But if we cut him and he's injured like he is now and doesn't pass a physical, there's a $7.5 million injury guarantee. So that does come into play. No doubt. Luke Walsh asking an important question about cars. 5.9 liter Voodoo flat plane crank engine or 5.5 liter Z06 flat plane engine? I'd take the Z06. I know about the Voodoo. I honestly have not read up enough about the Z06 flat plane engine to know, but I'll go with you on this one. I mean, it's newer. It's probably better. It's not a Ford. GD5, Tuesday will now forever be shoe karaoke night. Yes. Chris Royal coming in, born in Santa Rosa, California, now in Salem, Oregon. Chris, man, Chris and I met at the Seattle game. Chris, it escaped my mind that you were another Oregon resident. Yes, Santa Rosa, Salem. Man, we are close to one another. We got ties together, Chris. I'm telling you. Let's grab lunch. Let's go to the In-N-Out in Salem sometime. How about that? Jan coming in at Rob. Was my comment the reason you sang? My neck count out for a bit. Your internet cut out for a bit. I don't remember what caused me to sing. I just felt it and I went with it. 5G SG Sports Talk channel. Sometimes my eyes get bad. Do you like jalapenos on pizza? Yes, I do. I like a little bit of spice. Peter Lee, chunky or creamy peanut butter? LOL. I'm down for whatever. Peanut butter is good. Chunky, good. Creamy, good. I like peanut butter. Ellis10 at Rob. I went TDY to Portland ANG for a week. I enjoyed the McMenamins Kennedy School. I want to go back. I have no idea what those acronyms mean. We discussed that earlier in the show, that Rob is weak on his acronym knowledge when it comes to abbreviations. But I'm glad you were here in Portland. It's a dope city to visit. Great food town. Steve Avia at Rob. I'm honestly tired of hearing about Tom or Deshaun coming to start. That's disrespectful to Trey. And I hope that after this week, it's laid to rest. Lance uses this doubt in him to ball out. I agree, Steve. I totally agree. And I would also like for the noise to quiet down. I mean, I have been a part of that noise because I will talk about it when they seem like realistic options for the Niners. But at this point, I feel like the realistic option is Trey. Harris at Rob, chocolate chip cookies or oatmeal raisin? To me, I got to go chocolate chip, but how about the rare but very delicious chocolate chip oatmeal cookie? Very good. If you haven't had one, try a recipe. Take out the raisins, throw in the chocolate chips. Delicious. SG Sports Talk, vanilla or chocolate ice cream? I was always a chocolate dude. Always. Jan, pizza burger or burger pizza? Burger pizza. SG, chocolate chip or white chocolate macadamia? Chocolate chip. Chocolate chip for sure. All right, Russell, back to 49ers. Here we go. Let's get back to 49ers. How much early season pain do you think we have with the new coaching staff development? Or are you expecting a step up in some cases? This is a big unknown for me, Russell. I am concerned about this. Shanahan has earned favor in my mind, earned faith in his ability to select and develop coaches. So I have faith in this, but man, in particular, the quarterbacks coach bringing in Greasy, I just don't know. And so I would expect there would be a learning curve when you look at DeMeco Ryans, even though he had a successful season. I do think earlier in the season, there were some struggles and he really came into his own later in the year. I would look for a similar path for most of those coaches. Christopher Keith at Rob Shue, who's your favorite Niners running back of all time? He's right here, and it's Frank MFing Gore. So much heart to that dude. So much heart. Google account. Thoughts on the Alfa Romeo Giulia? I actually like the limited edition one that comes with a little 4-leaf clover on it. I like that. Geely at Rob. A lot of people here in Hawaii despise pineapple on pizza. Wouldn't really consider it Hawaiian pizza. By the way, have you ever been to the Pro Bowl here in Hawaii? I have not, but I was recently in Hawaii last June. Really enjoyed it. Was in Honolulu and sort of did the tourist trap attraction. Stayed in a nice hotel right on the beach there. It was cool. It was really cool to be in Honolulu, and I enjoyed it. No question. Stivers 209. Rob, my girlfriend broke up with me on the same day the Niners lost to the Seahawks 28-21. I'm sorry about that. That's a hard enough day as it is with the Niners loss. To pile on top of that, the loss of the girlfriend. Hopefully it just wasn't meant to be, and you are both happier for it. That's my belief in people separating from one another. Timothy at Rob, do you feel we should put bid for Watson by trading Jimmy, Ayuk, Greenlaw, and future picks? I do not. I am not in on that. Jan, if you commented you got to know when to hold them, that's what spawned the song. For sure. Envy 4PF says we need to make a move on Gilmore now. That would be interesting. I don't think we will. Syard, let's get the psych ward going. I agree. It's a good one. All right. I had a super chat and I need to get to that. Aaron from 49ers First Takes. Aaron, what's up, man? Here he comes in to say, don't know if you covered this. Honey Badger or a vet edge, or are we done spending? Also taking back my Moneyball criticism the other day. I'm glad that you have reconsidered. I do think the Niners are still in the market for a safety and a veteran edge. I think it's more about getting it at the right price than anything else. So if either one of those, if the Honey Badger sits out there long enough and decides he wants to go to a contender, I could see the Niners overspending a little bit beyond what they wanted to sign at this point. And then the flip side, I definitely think that there's a chance that the Niners bring in a Chandler Jones. I think they would love to have a bookend pass rusher. But again, I do believe that both have to be at the right price. And I'm not sure that either one of those guys are looking to take a huge discount at that point. The Golden Fang disagrees with my selection earlier, saying white macadamia nut cookies, by the way, bro. Come on. Macadamia nuts don't do it for me at the moment. I am more of a chocolate chip dude. Ooh, Drippy Dad. Good one here. Who did you like more as a Niner, Charlie Gardner or Garrison Hurst? I was a huge Garrison Hurst fan. I was at that game where he broke off that touchdown in overtime to beat the Jets. He started out right in our corner, right in front of my dad and I, and then streaked down that right freaking sideline, just going. Garrison Hurst, man, if not for that injury, what could have been? But I was a Gardner fan as well. I mean, that came out of nowhere for me. Let's see. Smooth trucking in the building at Rob Shoe. The line of in and out is always super long. I'm a truck driver, and when I pass by, I've never seen a line that long. It's crazy. The one in Salem, he's saying, in Salem, Oregon. Yeah, because that's the closest one to Portland, Oregon. People drive a freaking hour to go to In and Out. It is pretty wild. Jim asking, we get anybody today? Not unless something has happened while I have been on here. Luke Walsh, and I've been on here a little while. 2 hours and 11 minutes. Goodness gracious. I did not realize that we had gone that long. I just can't stop myself, people. I will stop myself at some point. I'm running out of water, and that's typically it. I only had one glass, and that's lasted me 2 hours. That's something. I may have to start drinking the barbecue sauce. It's time to open it. People who left the show and thought that it was going to be over are going to come back and be like, Rob, you're still live? Are you kidding me? All right, Luke Walsh at Rob Shoe. I'm guessing the offseason is where Trey will develop technique with Tom House. Brian Greasy will work with Trey more on functioning within the scheme. I agree. And I do think there's something to Brian Greasy being more of an average level NFL quarterback and operating within a Shanahan system. It is oftentimes those average level players that become the best coaches because they need to fully understand how to utilize the position and work within the scheme. Christopher Keith at Rob Shoe. Gore was great. I'm a Roger Craig fan. Should be in the Hall of Fame. Yes, he should. It's criminal. I have a hat signed by Roger Craig right over there. I ran into him at the Super Bowl in New Orleans in 2012. All right, GAM 1981. What are the odds out of 10 the Niners make the playoffs? I think that 7 out of 10. I think there's a 70% chance the Niners make the playoffs. That is my prediction. Gerardo, who's Honey Badger? That is Tyrann Mathieu, the safety for the Chiefs. Starco Fan 212 at Rob Shoe. Yesterday I asked if you're concerned if the Hawks could get a good quarterback in the draft free agent, and you said no. But are you concerned that they could get another good player in the draft? Most definitely. The Seahawks will always concern me. They are sort of that big brother team, and we have to knock them off. Get out from underneath their shadow before I won't have worries about them as an organization. Luke Walsh at Rob Shoe. Matt Barrows or Matt Mayoko? I love Mayoko, but I lean towards the humor of Barrows. You hit the nail on the head right there for me. It is Matt Barrows by a country mile for me. And I love Matt Mayoko, but Matt Barrows is far and away my favorite 49ers beat writer. I hope to have him on the show soon. Matt Mayoko said he would come on the show, so look for that. Timothy Smith. Rob, do you think Trey is ready to play this year and the team supports him instead of Jimmy? I do. I believe that. I think we are committed. Drippy Dad at Rob, awesome run. One of my vivid memories of great Niner plays. I totally agree. That was an epic way to end that game. Garrison Hurst streaking down the right sideline in overtime. Touchdown Niners! I think that's a good spot to end this show. It's been 2 hours and 15 minutes. If you're still here, I appreciate you. If you haven't hit the like button and you're still watching, consider hitting that like button on the way out. I will be back tomorrow with Between Two Beards at 5 p.m. Myself and Randon McMahon. I will be on if there's any breaking news. I'll even come on late tonight. I debated coming on last night to break down the West coverage, but I got too infatuated with checking out Eric Crocker because he used to be an NFL cornerback. I dig the dude's style anyways, so the two just came together. I will be ready for any future signings. Look for me to go live. If you want to follow me on Twitter, at The Left Shoe, I will announce any lives before I come back on. Otherwise, I will be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. if nothing happens. But let's pray something happens in between now and then. Until then, cheers, Niner faithful. It's been an absolute pleasure.